to the Rastafari. Give thanks and praise Ras Iadonis Tafari. So, which is the you telling me there?
Yeah. Speaking about the Gnostics, from the Orthodox school, I see this in a kind of Gentile Christianity and Judeo-Christian, or even meaning to like Ethiopian Oriental Christianity. And the Gnostic view, for example, the word gnosis, if you read the Greek Bible, you come across the word gnosis, knowledge, gnostikoi, to know, gnostikoi, the truth, and the truth, Althea, she'll set you free. You know what I mean? So if you're reading from like a Greek perspective, you see these words all over the place. They're not like special words, like if we're looking at it from this scholarly perspective or from research and study. It seems like, oh, Gnostic, oh, this is a term that means acquaintance. And it's a basic word that means knowledge, kind of intimate knowledge. But it's not a word that they were unfamiliar with. So when we get into anti-Gnostic, this seems to be a Western, like Roman, as things started to move towards Rome and Europe, it seems to be a polemic that the Catholic Orthodox Church was using. But in Ethiopia, we have the 9 saints, which in a certain view could be considered. When I say Gnostic, I kind of pause on the word, because there's the Gnostic way we look at it in study. Gnostic Gospels, Nag Hammadi Scrolls, and this and that. But then there is Gnostic, the Ethiopian Oriental Church saints, where they were considered to be sort of Gnostic in the Romanist church. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's like a different view of Gnostic when we start to look at the perspective of whether it was like Rome. For example, the early church fathers. I was hearing and the other brothers in Canada talking about the early church fathers. And these guys are very important in the Western tradition, but they are insignificant from an Ethiopian perspective. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to first just.
I hear what you're saying there, but I think they know. Enough of them very significant in the Ethiopian tradition. Many of the church fathers is like holy people in the Orthodox tradition. Like even Constantine, Roman Emperor Constantine, like he's a saint and all in Orthodox.
Why people always start with Constantine?
I know, I say.
Even Constantine, I have a theory, not to cut you, my brother, uncommon. Constantine, when I read the Ethiopian writings about Constantine, and then I look at, what's his name? Anthony Hislop, is that the guy's name? On the two Babylon? Yeah. I look at his view and the popular anti-Constantine polemic. Oh, he saw this and saw that. Then I look at the Ethiopian view from the church writings and other documentation. And it appears like two different perspectives. And it's like, I think the Ethiopian view and the Oriental view hasn't really been viewed properly. I think everything we funnel through how the Western Gentile Europeans look at history, and they tend to look at it as, okay, there was Jesus, and then there was disciples, and then there was Peter, and then there was Paul, and then there was Rome. Oh, there was a couple of Christians over in Africa and maybe Ethiopia. You know what I'm saying? And there's a whole wealth and a viewpoint that the Ethiopians maintain. You know what I mean? That it's kind of shocking if we look at it from a Rastafari. For example, Alexander the Great is not viewed like in a kind of an evil way like we would from another view of, you know, Alexander the Great. You know, he's the Greek, or the way to the Egypt. But the Ethiopians kind of seem to have a different view based on some of their writings. You know, like what was it, Pseudo Callisthenes? I don't know if you're familiar with that. Pseudo is am I pronouncing it correct? Pseudo
I believe,
Callisthenes
yeah,
and
I'm
the
familiar with the name, you know, but I can't say that I'm much more familiar with it than the name. I see it pop up already. Pseudo Kali. That's a character, that's a man, that's a teacher, you know.
I think that was like their view of, yeah, Alexander and Alexander the Great, and you know, there's a whole kind of, I think Budge translated one version of it from Ethiopian scrolls. I heard you mention the Fafa Siddiq. I heard that I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We mentioned about the Lefafa Sedek.
Now I heard you mention it on the Sun Network when you had came on
Yeah.
there. You had
Well,
mentioned, yeah,
I mentioned that in relation to I mentioned that in relation to certain incantations and certain magic, right?
yeah,
What the people and them used to like deal with in the Nile Valley. So like, because that's what Budge really touching on in the book in the introduction, eh? And
yeah,
something I know, I would have come across the thing what it is called the Sator square and the rota square with the tenet inside it and thing, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And
Brother,
some of them
Rossi, State
palindromes.
Rossi mentioned, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It, it's an interesting document, but I'm just saying that even though some of these documents might not get the same sort of validity in the Western tradition, they present a kind of a different view of an early point of Christian church ideas. You know what I mean? Like, for example, Athanasius, he's important in the Ethiopian tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Clement of Alexandria also, but to a little less extent, even though they have a lot of translations of his work. Arius is not very important. You know what I mean? Nestorius is not very important. The Ethiopians accepted a church council too, but then basically pulled away from those church councils. And then we get Christianity continuing to develop in Europe, but we're getting a kind of a different tradition within like the Horn of Africa, in Armenia, you know, India, Egypt, I think, and this one, Ethiopia, Syria, yeah, you know, a different kind of a view, and
Mm-hmm.
a more of a mystic Christianity, a more of a Christianity that might make one's think there's a Gnostic influence. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about
Yeah.
from the writings, not from the writings, but from the
Right.
ideas.
And the
This kind of
practice.
like, yeah, the spiritual aspect, along with the kind of like the human and divine, and the
Mm-hmm.
metaphysics of it. The Ethiopians are very, in their own way, metaphysical. You know what I mean? Where they can look at the word and interpret it in a very metaphysical way that you don't find brought out within like the Western tradition until later on, until much kind of later on, like with you know, like Thomas Aquinas or what's his name, Ignacio de Loyola. And I believe all that inspiration was because of their contact with Ethiopia. You know what I mean? That they saw in Ethiopia a kind of a more mature and a freer, you know what I mean? A kind of a freer expression. There's an orthodox expression, but it did not become um, um, confused until we get like the Portuguese and the Jesuits. They come in and they stir up kind of doctrinal differences. And then we see Ethiopia kind of go through a kind of a, around the 1500s. After that time, Ethiopia now begins to suffer kind of doctrinal wars. You know what I'm saying? Over this is the right way, this is the right way. Before that, we did have orthodoxy, but in that orthodoxy, there was a kind of a freedom of a certain amount of personal, I can't say, not just expression, I don't say expression, but personal thought. You know what I mean? It wasn't stifled in that sense. I don't know whether that makes any sense. I didn't back it up with more kind of documentation, but that's why I kind of pause from the Gnostic talk, because you really can't throw Ethiopia in there. The 9 saints of Ethiopia. Why were the 9 saints coming into Ethiopia to begin with? What's the story? You there? I can't hear you. Can't hear you, yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I was on mute there. I say, as far as I understand, the 9 saints come from Syria to come and spread the church and establish the church in Ethiopia.
Okay, yeah, but then I'll just say, and I know I've pointed to this book a lot before. It's the one on what's Virginia Lee Jacob, Roots of Ethiopia. Oh, here goes right here. Roots of Rastafari. Sorry, Roots of Rastafari. This particular book. It's a small book. It's Lickle Watalawa.
Yes, sir.
Watalawa. It's like a small book, but it got a lot packed in. And here it says this briefly: Monophysitism. They say monophysitism. It's really more correctly Miaphysitism.
Yeah,
Miaphysitism. Or Maya-physitism. That's another Greek term too. And it's interesting when we find these terms in the Greek manuscript. And then when we start to get these debates later on about doctrine, the ones who were able to read the Greek and had anything close to the Gospels or any early writings would definitely, I think, be on the right side of the argument, because they were familiar with these terms within the 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 Nazarene and Jewish Christian telling of their own thing within the Greek. But
right.
you had Gnostics that were what we call Gnostics, who were secularists. They were like Greek philosophers. So they were coming, like for example, the word suke or psyche. Suke was I believe the ancient Greek way of saying suke for soul. And in modern Oxfordian Greek, they call it psyche. Now,
Psyche, yeah.
psyche is defined as the mind, like psychology, right? Yet,
It's like the soul. Is it the soul? The psyche is the soul, and in the Greek, from the Greek version, it's like, you know,
but
it,
here's the thing. In secular Greek, they say there is no soul. Secular Greek says there is no soul, but it uses the word psyche for mind. In religious Greek, or like New Testament Greek, psyche or suke is the word soul. So in modern times, they say psychology and say, oh, in the secular sense, it's the study of the mind. But in a religious sense, it would be the soul, the logos of the soul. The logos, remember, is the logos, where we get ology, and then psyche is the soul part. So there's like the same word from a secular Greek perspective is defined totally different, not totally, but greatly different from a more religious or Christian Greek. interpretation. So
Truly.
here's where we get this diversification. We have an interpretation of terms. We have secular Gnostics who knew nothing about the Old Testament, who really knew very little about, the real Old Testament. They were just philosophers. So when they come into the Gnostic realm, they're bringing other ideas based on their perspective. And then you get some Gnostics who are actually bringing out intellectual and learned ideas in Greek, but based on their own Hebrew education. Because if I was a Hebrew or a Jew and I believed in Christ, and I'm like Paul, I'm learned in Hebrew, but I'm also learned in Greek. So if I want to express an idea from Hebrew into Greek, I would know, well, if I'm going to talk about the soul, in Hebrew it's nephesh, nephesh. So I'm going to say suke, you know what I mean? Or psyche. I'm going to talk about the spirit, the ruach, the ruach. I'm going to use the word pneuma, you know what I mean? So this is where you get a crystallization, you know what I mean, linguistically. And now the Ethiopians were right here on that cusp. They were familiar with like the Hebrew. They were familiar with the other African Semitic languages, Arabic, but they were also familiar with the Greek. And they also were familiar with the Latin. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're not dealing with people who were like, how can I say, and I don't want to say this as an insult, because some people might think this is an insult, but I just like to be kind of as clear. It wasn't like bush Africans, in a sense. You know what I mean? Who might have only learned this particular tribal dialect. The Ethiopians, because of where the Ethiopia is in the so-called Middle East. I hate that term, but in the so-called Middle East region, as his Matthew says, is between the Arab Islamic East and the Christian and West. You know what I'm saying? So having that opportunity to go from like linguistic, they could take something in Arabic and translate it into Ge'ez as easy as one could take something from Ge'ez and translate it into Hebrew. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I will. One thing come very, very obvious to me in this last dispensation is how very similar the different glyphs and the languages are in that same region. So it's almost like if you're familiar with one, you could find your way around many others then in a kind of way. I mean, like if
It's
you're
like us.
familiar.
It's like us over here. We all are speaking English or a form of English, right? But it's dialect. A Trini dialect has certain things that are a little different and certain influences that, say, Jamaica might not have. You know what I mean? Or some of the other islands. And then even down south, like East Coast, West Coast. Look at that. East Coast, West Coast. American English, British English. You see what I'm saying? And then when different foreign speakers come into the English, like for example, if somebody from India or from, say India, part of the family goes to England, part of the family comes to America. Can you imagine after the generation, the dialects? You know how they would speak? This part of the family is speaking more in the English. It all depends on where in England they are. Because there's parts of England where they have dialects like Welsh and Gaelic. You know what I mean? If you hear that, you'd be like, "That's English. That's English. What is that? That's English." You know what I'm saying? But yet the people in those regions that come from there are very familiar, with these different kind of dialects. Okay, yeah, man. Give thanks for that. But here's what I wanted to share this right here. Sorry, I had went off on a little tangent, and so this is on Roots of Rastafari, Monophysitism, the divine within. They say next to Nicaea, the most important of these was the Council of Chalcedon. This
Yeah.
council explicitly defined the Christian doctrine that two natures, they say one divine and the other human, completely united in Jesus to form one person who was at the same time God and man. The belief that only Jesus was capable of this phenomenon. This declaration was accepted by the entire council with the exception of the monophysite churches. Now, in this sense, they're speaking of like Ethiopia or other churches like Ethiopia, as their root name, mono, indicates the monophysites believe that rather than two separate divine and human natures joining to form one being, there is but one nature in which human and divine are indistinguishable, and that any human being is capable of such union. Now that union is the idea where we get the word like tawahido.
So
Tawahido. You're like,
what texts are you reading out of, King?
I'm reading from this right here, bro. This right here. This right here.
Interesting.
But
Because that the last sentence that seeming to me like if that is more the virgin idea he putting into the concept. Because I don't know if you could help me out to elaborate, because the part where he's saying where any other individual could attain to such union, like how they say in the Christ man had the dual nature in one thing, you know.
oh yeah. I often use that when I want to defend the divinity of His Majesty, because what I got to recognize is that understanding the Tawahido, what they call Tawahido teaching, understanding Tawahido teaching, because Tawahido is like the Muslims say Tawheed, Tawheed. They say Tawheed. The Muslims say Tawheed. Tawheed is like the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like the oneness of God. But it
Yeah.
comes from the word Wahad. Wahad. Ahad, like Ahadu Amlak, Ahad and
Yeah,
Wahad.
Israeli. I had it come from. I had, one. The, in the triliteral roots now, Israeli A
Uh-oh,
H B.
uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah,
No. You hear it. Well, it's Ahad. It's Ahad like for the word one, but then when you add like say Wahad,
yeah.
Wahad.
Yeah, when you put the prefixes and the suffixes on it, it modify the root of the, you know what I mean? So
Exactly. But it means
mm,
to unite, to become one. The sense there is like to become one, to become one. So we have one set of churches, right, are saying that only Jesus was able to these two natures and God and man as one. But what the Ethiopian and Oriental churches were saying was like, nah, that any human being is capable of such union. And according to the monophysites, this divine connection to God is not exclusive to Jesus Christ, but available to all true believers. But pause. Here's what the author doesn't put here, but from studying like Archbishop Yitzhak and others, here's the connection that because of Jesus Christ, each of us in that faith have that ability to become one as he is one, because he has brought that oneness, that new and living way. We are all able through that faith in him and his faith to become one with our Father God, as Jesus has shown us the way. It's almost like a way back into the Garden of Eden. That's the concept. But the key thing is that there was one set of Christians that said that because of Yeshua, we all can do this and we have faith and we strive. But the Catholic and the other church was saying, only Jesus. And you have to come through the Pope. You have to come through the church, the Orthodox hierarchy. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I say the true Gnostics were resisting against, because the true Gnostics understood the Tawahido that churches like Ethiopia were maintaining. So it says this theological issue, though subtle, was important because rejection of the council's conclusions meant certain persecution. Get this? It was from this persecution that the Monophysites first fled to the Coptic Church of Egypt and later farther south into Ethiopia. These monks, who eventually arrived in Ethiopia, are responsible for completing the great task of translating the Holy Scriptures into the Ethiopian language of Ge'ez, Ge'ez. So I just read that one. It's just this one section right here, just this one like paragraph right here. I just want to point that out because as the author goes on, it makes the Gnostic connection there. Because that idea that any of us are able to become one, therefore we're able to express divinity. That means divinity was what man lost from the garden, the whole Garden of Eden, the overview story that man and woman lost his divinity. And that after 5.5 days, 5,500 years, this Son of God, this Messiah would be born, and he will restore the way once again to the tree of life, which is that oneness of God and man, where, God and man was one before, the Garden of Eden, the apple, the fall, so forth and so on. So that was a Gnostic idea to the Western Christian. They're like, wait, they don't believe two natures come together only in Jesus? That they can do this without coming through the church and the Pope and the system? These guys are Gnostics. You know what I mean? And they've persecuted the Ethiopian Oriental churches the same way they persecuted the true Gnostics. So thank you, my brother. I just wanted to just kind of say that right there, because that's a little bit of my kind of research perspective on the Gnostic question. I think that a lot of the Gnostic conversation has nothing to do directly with us from an Ethiopian perspective. I'll pause.
Right there. Man. So I don't know if you see it now up on the screen.
Okay, I'm looking at the one right there, the one with the English.
Hey, I'll big up this one where you send me here first.
Yeah, I kind of zoomed in on this right here, so I can see this zoomed in. I see the cursor. Go to where the how they have this labeled. Okay, now the naming of it.
I understand they have a key. They have a key. Is the I send me this graphic here? So it's in. It have a key right here, and it have 4 sections. These things divided in 4. So there's the header for it. So it's saying there's the transliteration. Then the second column is the Giz Abugida with the inherent vowel A in that form there, the basic form. And then here it have it in this must be Amharic, or is this Giz? Sehefata Israelawi. Right? So this is the language of the Israelites. Yeah. And then the last and the last Sehefata is writing, the writing.
Yeah. Sehefata Israelawi. Sehefata, like Sehefat, like a writing. Yeah, something written. Yeah.
So and then the letter name behind it. So I don't know if I would go through this now, because remember the name of this this session here, to all who go be viewing this currently or afterwards, the I and I going and start to go through dealing with the Giz language, the classical Ethiopic language, So this program here we on right now is to kind of try to get familiar with the glyphs and the names of the glyphs. Then inside the Ethiopic Fidel and the Abugida or the hey who, as I see the I put it in the Rastafarian fire key. Yes, I. Sir Ras Iadonis,
Yes,
you
yes.
I would like you to go through this as the brethren have enough experience in these vibes and things. I might butcher the
Okay,
pronunciation, but
okay. Well, a little tired, so hopefully I can articulate. Just being a little, just in a vibe. But here, I'm gonna go from the right hand side of the screen, and you'll see where it has the H. So the H is the EAE. The EAE, I had to just look it up quickly right here. Is a transcription of Ethiopian languages. Right, there's a page ensawaso.com, and basically breaks down the transcription system of EAE, follows closely with few exceptions, taking up the system used by Leslaw. So I don't know if you know about Wolf Leslaw. Wolf
yeah,
Leslaw.
man.
Um,
Mhm.
they basically take up his system, right? There's a very good page. I'm actually going to share this here with the eye so the eye can have a copy of this. And maybe we can, like, I don't know if you could put it in the footnote or not the footnote, what do you call it again? In the description, or share this with anybody who this kind of goes into more detail of the system that we're using right here, just for one to see the EAE system. Right. So we
Yeah, man.
have the H. The H right there, that's usually called the ha. Ha. You usually call ha, but you see it written as HE, like ha. Because what they're
Mm.
attempting to do right here is synchronize the Ethiopic. I didn't count how many letters, but that might be 22. I know the Hebrew has 22, and the good
The
is,
Hebrews
if I'm
had
correct,
22 and
has
the
20.
Geese, the archaic form they say are 26, and then the more thing they say 29. And then there are some additions for Amharic pronunciation too. And it has some additional glyphs extra up to 30 something when they add in the ones for Amharic, certain pronunciations like this one here, the KW, the QW, the GW. These is like extra glyphs.
Okay, I'm counting. I just counted. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It seems like
That will
they
be
have
30.
30 there, but actually the Hebrew has 22. And here, this is
Yeah.
seeking to synchronize the Hebrew with Ethiopic. This is not Amharic. This does not have the 7. How many is it again? It would be 7 modifications. There are
Yeah,
7 additions to the Gu'as to make
yeah, man.
what we call the Amharic 33, the 33. So Gu'as usually has 26. But what it's doing right here, this particular comparison is trying to align the Ethiopic with the biblical, we could say the Hebrew, or the um, Sehefete Israelawi, the Sehefete Israelawi, the writing of the Israelites. Okay, I see you got it behind you right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these are the extra letters for the Amharic.
there we go.
Mhm.
There we go. No, bring it up once again behind the eye. Can you do that again? Yeah. These right here, these are only 4. There are 7. This is another level of modification, actually. This is the you know how one would say go away? They'll say go away.
Wait,
You
yeah,
know
yeah,
how one would say go away? This is what this
Mm-hmm.
kind of goes into. They add a W. It's like on the top is like que, 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 qua, que, like que. It's like a we, like a we added to, like instead of saying hua, they
Mm-hmm.
say hua, 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 hua. So instead of say hua, 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 hua. Like I said, gua, you say gua, gua, gua. But that right there is modifications. That right there is a modification more of the like the vowel tone. But okay, let's go through this right here, and I'll show you by bringing this up right here. You'll see
Yeah.
where on the right hand side it has he. Now in modern Amharic, I want everyone to hear me. In modern Amharic, it's pronounced different than ancient Ge'ez. And then, of course, even then Tigrinya. We talked about the Tigrinya before. It's pronounced different. So the usual vowels are e, u, e, a, o. E, u, e, a, o. But in Amharic, the H sounds and give thanks, my brother. The H sounds and the H sounds and the A sounds sound the same in the first and the fourth order. This kind of throws ones off when they like are learning sometimes, because the Amharic is less emphatic than the ancient Ge'ez. Like the difference between Amharic and ancient Ge'ez is similar to the difference between like Tigrinya and Amharic on average. I mention all of this
Mm-hmm.
is because you see there's the H-E there. This is because they're trying to align it with the Hebrew sound. The Hebrew letter there is hey, 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 right? But in Amharic, usually that first H is called ha, hu, he, ha, hey, he, ho. Notice, ha, hu, he, ha, hey, he, ho. The next letter is le, right? It's the L. But notice the difference in the vowel. Le, lu, li, la, le, lo. Le, lu, li, la. And then if you go on, you will find like the M. I'm skipping ahead. I'm gonna skip over the other H because the other H sounds the same way. Ha, hu, he, ha, hey, he, ho.
I
But
think
it's
you go and continue. I think I have a nice thing that the show that we're speaking about too. Yeah.
yeah. So I say that because sometimes people say, well, how come you're saying he, hu, he, ha, hey, he, ho? Because in the ancient time, they would have said he, hu, he, ha, hey, he, ho. They would have said e, u, e, a, o. But now in Amharic, they say ah, u, e, a, o. So the first and the fourth A sounds and the first and the fourth H sounds sound exactly the same. That's why I just want to bring forward right there, because yeah, this gives a good example. This is very good. This is a good example. You'll see that the H is ha, hu, he, ha. But the le, the second one is le, luli, la. The M is not ma, mu, mi, ma, it's me, mu, mi, ma. The Ngusu Sa, the King Sa, is Sa, Su, Ti, Sa. You know, now they say in Ge'ez, that sound would have actually been pronounced as she, she, like in Hebrew. But can we go back to the one we started out on? That was a little segue right there, but since we're like chopping up on some preliminary, that's a good one right there. That's a very good one right there as well. You know, like the chart alignment right there.
You wanna get back into this chat here? This one here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
keep
man.
the other one nearby. Keep the
Keep
other one nearby.
the
So
next
you
one
see
nearby.
that. Oh wow, wow. You got skills.
Good man. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have The first one is ha. Now they have, I'm looking at it, it seems to be, like I'm trying, okay, it's a variation of the Hebrew. I'm trying to figure out why they are spelling it like that. So the first one is the hey. They're taking it from Hebrew, and they're trying to align like the Hebrew with the goodness. So the first one will be hey. The next one will be, the letter, they have it as lamed, 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 not lamed, but lamed, lamed, lamed. It's like, you notice you ever use Google Translate? You ever use Google Translate?
Yeah.
Now, Google Translate is good if you ever see like in Amharic where it'll bring out the English, like what the English transliteration is, but they always add a vowel in. That's not
and
there.
where that vowel is coming, King. I think it's because they'll be trying to use the seventh order instant of the glyph, and then the seventh now is either you had to know the language or be in context to know if it's without the I or if it's with the I. So there's just put in the I one time to
They call that in Hebrew. They call that in Hebrew the schwa. In Hebrew they call it the schwa, like the schwa. I don't know if you heard schwa, like SCHWA, schwa.
Right.
The schwa is like for example, it's the
yes, like
right?
the dots.
Yeah, the at the end of the word is not pronounced. So in other words, the second one, that is the L, where it says le mi di, le mi di. That second one, you see the two dots over the A. That's for the L sound. Le. The M, you see the upside down E. That's a I. So we, and then the D with another upside down E will be the di. So they're spelling out each like they're spelling out each fidel. Le mid di, lemid, lemid. Some might say lamed, right? But lemid, lemid.
So
for the
let
F.
me ask you a question, King. So the A with the double the double dots on top of it, what what is called the double dot? And it doesn't that's not really the question. The question is really the double dot A, if it representing the first order or the fourth order.
Okay, in this case right here, the double dots over the A will represent the E sound. If
Which
it
is
didn't
the
have
first order.
double dots over it, like when it doesn't have the double dot, it'll be the ah.
You're right.
So
So the
if this is
you mean the first order, this one here.
the first, the good is order, the good is order.
Yeah, the good is order. Yes,
That's the
yeah.
first column.
One thing with that now, the other day when I bring up Calb on the screen, I notice now that the second order is they just call it Calb too, and that mean dog. What kind of heights it is inside of that with the names of the order?
No, it's not. It's not dog. It's not. You mean Kalba. It's Kaib. Kaib. It's not Kalba, but it's Kaiba. Kaib. Kaib. Kaib.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the second, it's Kalb. Kalb. Kalba will be like dog. So Kaib in the is like the second, and what's it? Chalice, yeah. That's close. That is a close one. So the next one would be the so when you see the next one with the 8 and the dot underneath.
Yeah.
That would be the heta, or het. In Hebrew, it'll be chet, chet. The Hebrew letter is chet, chet. It's chet.
Now that's something what a learner would like to understand too, or try to see that the K, the kind of K sound in the K glyph in Hebrew, it resemble the H glyph in Hebrew. Now. It's something so. Or is the right? It's not really the K. The KH. This is the K. The H with the dot underneath it is the KH sound.
Yeah, most approximately. Yeah, most approximately. It's like, look at the first letter in Hebrew.
Or
Because the first,
CH.
or CH, in the old transliteration, CH. You see the top one, the he or the hey?
Yeah,
The first one is hey. The first one is hey. So when you
yeah,
see the E, when you see the E without any, when you see the E without like the regular E, it will be
yeah.
like an A sound. So the first one is hey. The next one is lemid, lemid. The next one is chet, 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 chet. It's like an A sound, chet. But in
Mm,
Amharic, usually in Amharic, that the Amharic or the Ethiopic glyph, the second glyph, reading it
yeah.
from, remember, we're reading it like we read Hebrew. We're actually
Mm,
reading it from right to left. So for everybody watching this, we are first looking at the English, then we're looking at the Hebrew, and then lastly here we are looking at the Ethiopic. And then you'll
yeah.
see the what they call the transliterated, the phonetic transliterated one. So you'll see
Mm,
that the first one, if you look at the Hebrew, you see how it's open. You see how it's open. Like the
yes.
first
Hey.
one and the third one, almost exactly the same, except one is closed. The second one is closed, and
Mm-hmm.
the top one is open. Because the idea was that that's like a closed fence. So when we say hey, hey, open fence. When we say chet, chet, hey, open chet. So it's almost like when you do the KH sound, it's almost like you're
Mm-hmm.
closing, you know what I mean? It's like you're hey, hey, and then chet, 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 chet. You know what I'm saying? So you can see
Sure.
even the letters, they kind of give like one, it looks the same, but one
Mm,
is open and the other one is like a fence, like shut. So that one is called chet, 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 right? The chet, chet. That last vowel is there, but it's not emphasized. Het, het, het,
Ra-
het.
Ras
And now,
Iadonis.
wow.
One thing I noticed when I started to peruse the Giz glyphs, right, is that many of them resemble the modern day like Latin letter for it now. Many of the glyphs, if you really take them in, there's resemble the modern day letter, you know? Like watch the M with the double, this double thing there. It look like is a M self, you know? And
Or if you go back to Egypt, to the
yeah,
Romed, let's say the Ryan Kemet, the Ron Kemet, the Ryan Kemet. It's
yeah.
like the mountain. It's like a wave. You know, the wave
No,
sign.
yeah. Look like us like waters. But and even watch the T obviously looking like T.
Oh, that's a cross. That's Safari. That's a T. That's a T in
Yeah.
Teferi. That's a T. Te. There's Te and Teferi. Look like a cross. And then
And,
go to the last one
you know
in case one's
you know the
confused.
W.
The
Watch
last
the W
T.
too. One before I tell you what, yeah, I see the tau there and the two. Yeah. But watch the W and all too, right? They're
The
looking like
toe.
a W.
No,
So
yeah, there's something universal. There's something universal, like when we study the shapes, you know, and yeah, there's the toe right there. Tattoo, T, ta, te, te, toe. Tetu, tita, te, tito. Tetu, tita, yeah. And now, okay. Keep that other one right there. Go down to the mat. If you could bring up the mat, the same one. Main. The next one is main. It's called main.
This one here, meme.
May. The way it's spelled out there, main. The end, main. And then they have a sheen. You see the S with the slash above it? That's for syllabation. We call it syllabation. That means instead of saying set, instead of saying seen, you make it more like a slur. Sheen. And we call that the Ethiopic of it, which is the letter for Selassie. In Selassie, it's called Negusu. Negusu set. Like the kings set. Negusu set. So that's the scene right there. Now, I wanna go. Let's go a couple more letters because I want to show where some of the modifications come in. The next one is reish, reish. If you don't roll the R, or reish. And then you have,
and this is the first order. No, is in Selassie name in Rastafari, you would be using the first order or the fourth order.
Which one? For
the Ras letter.
Oh, you use the fourth order in Amharic, the fourth order. Re, ru, ri, ra. That right there is re. The letter.
This is
re. It's the fifth vowel. Say that again.
So this E column here, this is the glyph here for Ra.
Let's go, Ray. Yeah. No, I didn't. I had zoomed it in. Yeah. That's for Ra. That's Ra. Yeah. Like.
And this
you
one
see
here
the next
be
letter
Ru.
right next.
There's Ru here.
Which one?
Last column.
No, that'll be Ro. Ro. Re, ru, ri, ra, re, ro. That'll be ro.
Is it, the last one is
Ru.
with O. The last one is with a O. No. Anybody who observing there and on first levels like I am, you could see, you could remember now the glyph with the O. It have a O on the top corner. It have a O attached to the letter in most of the forms now. See, so there's H with a O, that is ho. There's L with a O, that is low. You know what I mean? And so forth. So
Lick will mean correct. No, it is. So like lick, no, lickano. It's correct. Or lickna. You are correct. You know what I mean? Lickno. Windman. Yes, I. You start to examine those things and you begin to see that even in the Fidel, it has its own wisdom, its own sense. You know what I'm saying? There's a kind of a sense. It's not just that they chose to write the letter in any way, but even the writing of the letter is bringing out, as Ankoma just pointed out, the sound. You know what I mean? The sound, the word sound.
And
now,
well, I just want to add into that same point again that you could probably the sixth order, then what is this, the fifth?
The
The
fifth.
fifth order. The fifth order is what sound that is me? What vowel sound that is me?
That's the A.
A.
The A sound. Like for example, from the Hebrew pronunciation of the letters, notice it's Reish. I didn't say Resh. I didn't say Rash. I said Reish. So one way of bringing that out is like the I and the E. You know, the I and E, kind of like A, like pay. Different translators sometimes they'll take a E and they'll put like a triangle over it. You know what I mean? Sometimes they'll put like a long line over it. So that might become confusing if you're reading different translators, but the IE there like for the A
Most
sign.
times in the linguistic symbology, a long line over a letter is just like a long vowel. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like they
Most
must
times
say
it becomes confusing, like when they translate. For example, Lambden. I like how Lambden translates in English, but Lambden doesn't translate exactly the same as Wolf Law. You know what I'm saying? And each one kind of, you
but
know what
I
I'm
think
saying?
he working on Leslau foundation though, I believe. He borrow Leslau basic transcription into his works there.
But
We go be going through it.
I would recommend it because it's consistent. But the IE there on the sound is the A. Yeah, it's that A sound.
And the
Like
normal A where you don't pronounce is A. So like for example, this L here and this L here, if you could just pronounce the difference in them for me.
okay. Go to the first one. That's la, 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 la. Is the vowel. The vowel is ah. The sound, the letter is la, la, la. And the next one is the vowel is A, but the letter is lay. So
A.
la and lay, la, lay. The full column from left to right, le, lu, li, la, lay, li, lo. Le, lu, li, la, lay, li, lo.
Le, lo. Okay. All right.
Lilo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. All right. So we continuing on this one.
Okay.
On this.
The after the what's that? Reish. The Hebrew to is we have the next one is
No. I had to point out because you see now for the little commentary we're making, Ras Iadonis, it might seem remedial to the eye because you're in it long time.
Go through, man. Go through, you're good. It's good,
By
man. Nah,
doing this for the benefit of the who go be the audience and thing trying to learn as well, you know. I just want
yeah,
to point out that
it's good.
that
It's good. I
the
give thanks. I give
yeah
thanks.
man.
Pick up on
So
those things. Mm-hmm.
the R in the Hebrew, I just want to show them is remember now they just read right to left in when you read in Hebrew and other Semitic. So the R is basically look like a R, so you could memorize that one time. Facing sooner. The resh, it look like a English R but facing the next direction. So go through again, King. I ain't hearing you. You get muted.
No, can you hear me right now?
I hear you
Can you
good.
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah man, yeah man.
Let's see. Yeah. It almost looks like this. My fingers. I don't know if you can see my fingers. Like this one. Oh yeah, it's kind of backwards right there. But almost like you could fit them both together. Like almost like as a square. Like they're like mirrored. It looks mirrored. I don't know if I'm being heard. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, yeah, you're being heard. Yes, I did just
Yes.
mute out because I had the crickets and them chirping
Don't
out.
worry. The cicadas and the crickets are beautiful, man. It keeps us in tune with the earth running. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the concrete jungle, too much concrete. Yeah,
Yes,
so the next one is the another S sound. The Hebrew name that they have here is Samech, 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 Samech. Actually, in Hebrew, sometimes we'll call that Sameach, Samech,
but
Samech.
that's what I'm saying. I think this column here is the Geese or the Ethiopic name or rendition for it in a way.
Oh, it's a Hebrew form. It's like they took the Hebrew and they're trying to compare it in an Ethiopian way, but it's actually the Hebrew. It's a
Right,
Hebrew letter.
right.
It's like,
The
hey,
spelling the Hebrew in Geese in Ethiopic type of way. That's what you mean?
yeah, something like that. It's trying to show the compatibility. Oh, an excellent book to get is Ethiopic Grammar by August Billman. That
Just,
particular book, from a scholarly perspective, because he does a lot of this too, where he looks at old biblical Hebrew and he's making correspondence with the Ethiopic in a very interesting way, you know. But this, that's Samech, 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 Samech. The Samek, what they call Samek. You might hear Hebrews say Samek or Samech. What you say about the K and the KH? You could say it
yeah.
as Sameh, Samech, Samech, or you can say it as Samek, Samek, Samech, Samek. But that's the
Mm.
S. Now notice we have the S right there, the one that says Sa, or is it, yes, Sa. That says Sa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right there. That's that letter. You can see it's the same letter right there. Now notice right after that letter, what do you have in the column on the right? You have a she. The
Yeah.
she. The she is an Amhara modification. That's a modified sound. Remember I said that the Ngutu one was pronounced as sheen, as she?
Yeah.
That's in
Yeah.
good. That's in Hebrew.
Mm.
So we see in the Amharic, the Ngusu se is feminized, linguistically speaking. It's softened. It's softened. And then a modified, you notice that the se in the Ethiopic, they add a bar. A bar
Bar
is
and
added.
top.
And that bar, the bar usually shows you the modifications. When you're looking at the, if you can make out, anybody, try to make out the 7 added modified sounds. They're kind of easy to see because they've kind of, but anyway, let's not digress. The next one is cough, 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 the Q. Special,
Yeah,
special.
but give thanks for that piece of knowledge there, because as you see with the bar, you can see the sha is one with a bar. This car we're representing an X sound here, have a bar on it, so that probably is a modified one too. And then we have across here this va. Va is one as well with a bar.
Yeah, va is yeah, soft B, va.
And,
And
and this NGA, you know, how you would have tried to pronounce that as? How you would have pronounced that? NGA. This
I haven't actually come across that actually. I'm looking at it.
because
They have a Naga,
this is the game email underneath here the G sound now.
Ga, Naga, Ga, and I will have to ask somebody. That's a unique one right there. I'll be honest with you. That one right there. That's not so frequently used. The
And
J,
then this one here now is similar to like how I like the consonants were in I title there and Kuma the J now. That's the DJ sound.
yeah,
The
yeah, that's
G.
J. The J. Yeah, there you go, the J. That's a J, Ju, G, Ja. J, Ju, Jo. J, Ju,
So
G.
which
Oh,
one is Ja?
you missed
This one
Che.
is just, we can use this monogram now as Ja. This is Ja here.
Some already use it. Actually, I think on what's his name? What's that you that Synchronics? There's an album out, and I seen somebody put the Ja. They use that same letter there as
Right.
Ja. Right there.
Mm.
I'm gonna zoom out for a moment. Zoom out. Zoom out. Go down to no, zoom in, sorry. Zoom in. You see where it has te, te, te. You see
Okay.
the no, go up. Right there, yeah. That's te. The next one is a modified, but it doesn't have the bar. Che, 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 che. There's a che right there. Che. Che, chu, chi, cha, che, chu, cho. Che.
So you,
Now,
the point where you're saying is that this this line here is a modification of this line here,
correct, correct, correct.
and
It's one of the
and this is a what kind of sound is this one? This diacritical mark here,
it's
it
explosive.
represents,
It's explosive.
explosive.
Yeah, it's like te, te. Like we have te for, check this out. Some people
Mm,
say that Rastafari means head creator. We have labored to show that that was well intended, but it's half correct. Ras Teferi, Teferi. The word for creator is fetari, fet,
mm-hmm,
ta, ta. So that first letter right there is te, te. We have te, te is soft, te, right? Teferi. That's te, te, te. So the T with the apostrophe brings out the sense of like your teeth, like an explosion. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, man.
the te, the te. It's almost like you put your tongue behind your teeth, so to speak, and you let the air te, te. And now the
Mm-hmm,
next one, the modified one, is che, che. It's like now you almost like, instead of saying a T, exploding a T, you're exploding a like a CH sound, like a che, che, che,
mm-hmm.
che, tu, chi, cha, che, che, cho, che, right? And then go down one more. You see the other cha? You see the other cha?
Yeah, man.
Now, that right there, go over. That is a modification of the te in teferi, of the T. So
Of the,
notice, in
it's on the
Amharic,
same line.
yeah, in Amharic you have te, right? Te, modified che. In the Amharic you have te and you have che. So that means we have a hard te,
Mm-hmm.
che, and we have a soft te, che. Te, che. That's che. That's che. Not che. Not che, but che. Che. But that's a modified right there. That's a modification. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
that's a modification. I think we almost got all seven of them. We touched on all seven. Why I mention that?
Yeah.
Yeah, why I mention that is because um as we kind of look through the other, yeah, the other one, like, okay, for example, golf, golf, that's a Q, golf. And then if you zoom out, you have to zoom out there, but there we go. Yeah, there you go. You pointed, you got it. Now you see how they spell it? We have QA, right? QA, and
Mm-hmm.
then they have a K and apostrophe. So that letter is the letter in Kedamawi. Not ka, but ke. Ke, ku, ki, ka, ke, ko. Ke. Kedamawi. Ke. So The K.
So this first letter is this first form is the first different Kedamawi.
The
This
first
one.
form. Yeah, the one in the good is there we go. There we go. That's the K. That's a special K. It's a special K. Correctly, it's a Q. But get this. In English, there's not one word we say in English with a Q sound without a U or a W. No. Point to one word. You know what I mean?
I
Let's go.
can't point to one off the top of my head. I can't get one off the top of my head.
Yeah, because the word queen. The word queen is QU.
Yeah.
You know,
QU.
so
Quick.
that's why that is kind of a little bit challenging because we don't have like any sound like that. So they usually have it as special K. Special K. We see the K with a
Apostrophe.
diacritical, The best way I would say for ones to get it is to say quick, right? Let's say it like this. Say quick, quick, quick.
Quick, quick, quick.
Yeah, boom. Now, just replace the sound that you feel. You don't stress yourself. Nobody stress yourself. Don't rip out your throat. Don't force it. But to say quick, quick, you begin to feel that click.
Quick, quick,
quick,
quick,
quick, quick,
quick,
quick,
quick, quick. Kadamawi. Kadamawi.
The thing I would say is don't stress yourself. You don't have to put any pressure. It's almost like, practice. Ones get it. So that's the kof. Kof in Hebrew is known as kof. Actually, they said that the letter remind them of a monkey. I don't know why.
Well, you can also see that this is that this looking like a P form. If you're thinking in English, it look like a P, and a Q is a reverse P, and you don't know it's like the R reverse. So you could quickly memorize this letter as a Q in Hebrew.
Yeah, and now the other one is like a kind of it's like a modified sound. The one for QW.
Yeah.
Is instead of saying kof is kwof, 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 kwof. Or in Amharic, it could be like the kwe, 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 kwe as a sound, kwe, right? So like in Hebrew, when you put those two letters together, it makes that kind of sound. Like if it was like quof, quof, quof. Like if it's a word, I'll say that's quof, 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 quof. But in Amharic, they modify the letter with that little circle there.
Yeah.
That's just to bring out the W. They call it like a glide. A glide.
Labial glide. A labialized glide. A labialized glide.
Autodidact. Yeah, man. You hit it exactly. Like a labialized, like a little glide, like a, you know how we people speak. I guess it really comes from.
It just come across just like how it look too. It just be like QW, like you want to say queen or you want to say quick or something.
Exactly. You hit it right there. Wow.
And then
the
next thing too, what for the audience, this here is one. It come like in the glyphs. They only give you about. It only have like 2 glyphs in Hebrew that is act as vowels, right? It had the yod, and then it have this wow, the wow. Yeah, well, I show a butcher in the pronunciation, so you go clean it up when I done thing number. So this one here is the wow. We'll go make this QW. This QW. You know what I mean? See the wow here. This letter here.
Wow, yeah. Wow. Yeah, wow. Yeah. Exactly.
And then you see the same Ethiopic glyphs look like the same W too. For the W. Mm,
Yeah, if you can make it out, good eye, there. Yep, yep.
mm,
You know. So what I like about this chart right here is that it takes the Hebrew and what's found in the writing, the manuscripts, and then it
mm,
takes the Ethiopic and the Goodness and Amharic chart, and it kind of shows that two ways of communicating the same thing through two different scripts. You follow what I'm saying? In other
mm,
words, that in the Hebrew, there's often like you said, the W, the wow, or the yod.
mm,
Even though vowels in Hebrew is interesting. People think that because they didn't write a bunch of vowels in old Paleo whatnot Hebrew, that the people didn't understand what they were writing. Like some things are just they become almost like second nature. But then as time went on, in order to encode things, like for example, they said that Gutters originally was just
mm.
the first column, was the first column letters. There's some science that says that nobody really knows who exactly did the modifications, for the
Mm.
different sounds. But when you say
Well, you
Gutters,
see,
mhm,
Lam, then the same brother who writes in this text what we're gonna be going through in this series, reasoning. He writes some things in the introduction of the text. What I feel I might not agree with to a certain extent now. You know what I mean? But I know because what he says is that Ethiopic. Let me see what he's saying here. We see how
yeah,
Ethiopic.
bring it up. Yeah, good, good. I haven't read him in a while, but I love his book. I love Thomas Lambden's work.
Yeah.
That man's book helped me out. Like I said, I told you I had that for like about 3 decades, almost 3 decades. I think it's on
Yeah.
copy. It's all beat up and everything, but yeah.
Right. So for the audience, this book here published in 1978. So the I really saying it out a while now. You know what I'm saying? To say 30 years or more. So this you can read the screen clearly there, King.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go through. You want me to read it, or are you gonna read it?
I go read it and then you'll give running commentary on anything we're seeing, right? You say
All right.
classical Ethiopic or Ge'ez is the literary language developed by missionaries for the translation of the scriptures after the Christianization of Ethiopia in the 4th century. The new written language was presumably based on the spoken language of Aksum, the commercial and political center at the time. Some inscriptional material survives from this earliest period of the language, but our main source is the extensive religious literature which was translated into Ge'ez during the ensuing centuries. As the official language of the Church, the written language survived the demise of its spoken counterpart in a manner analogous to the survival of Latin in Europe. Although evidence is sparse and scholarly opinion is not unanimous, the Semitic presence in Ethiopia is most plausibly explained as the result of migrations from South Arabia in the form of commercial colonizations beginning possibly as early as the middle of the first millennium BC. Ge'ez is linguistically a member of the Southeast Semitic family but does not seem to be derived directly from Old South Arabic, as known from Sabian, Manayan, and Katabanian, and other inscriptions during this time. The real ancestral language on Arabian soil is irretrievably lost to us, but we do have its descendants in the modern South Arabic dialects of Mehri, Sokotri, and Shari. It's a when these can be extricated from their North Arabian admixtures. Because the Ethiopic script is fully vocalized, the main features of the grammar are clear from the text themselves. the orthography, however, has two defects. Well, we go into these further, but that first set of introductory comments, what he making there? How do I we have to comment on what he's saying there?
Okay. That first, when you read the first line, I said to myself, wow, I hadn't read this in a while. I hadn't read the introduction in a while. That
Mm-hmm.
first line, what does he say in the first line?
Let me bring it back. Yeah, man.
Yeah, in that first line right there, he says something that, he said the language was developed. How he
No, no,
claims that language
it's
was
the classic,
developed.
the literary. Oh yeah, the literary. He meaning like the like the syllabary part of it now, like how you say the first originally from the south Arabian epigraphic South Arabian script, right? Where they say the Giz come from, because they are the same letters in the epigraphic South Arabian. But what happened is they in the epigraphic South Arabian they used to read it Bostrifedon. You know that that's a kind of linguistic term. I mean, they used to read the language from right to left and then from left to right, alternating lines going down an inscription. So you could read it forward
Mm-hmm.
and then read the next line backwards. The Bostrifedon is I think the term for it is a Greek term or whatever.
Well,
It's some
I know the term.
no,
I know the term, but I'm familiar with what you're saying, the process. But I know, thank you for the Bostrifedon.
yeah,
Bostrifedon.
Bostrifedon. It have something it related to how the motion of a plow in a field. When a plow go pull the plow one direction and then turn and pull the next way, it's
Oh,
something
okay.
to in the etymology of that Bostrifedon with something to do with like a plowing and the matrix with that.
Thank you.
But
Thank you for
but but,
thank you.
but when we thinking with the geese now and say yeah, so they saying when just like how you said used to write consonantal only and it used to have only the first order, right? And then in Semitic language now, they just talk about the inherent vowel. You know, what I mean the inherent vowel. So that is be in Semitic languages is be the a na. The inherent vowel is a a. But then like in Kemetic now, the inherent vowel they just put
Mm,
in is a e. So when you have it's like in the word Kemet, you're gonna have the K, the M, the T. But then the inherent vowel what it is put in is the E inside it for you to vocalize the consonantal form. You understand?
mm,
So but
mm.
so in the Geese now, when you see if you just see like some continent in an inscription, they go mostly put in or assume the A to form the words and to be like to read it to read an inscription
Mm.
in ancient Giza or
It-
whatever it is. You know?
that's quite correct. But it's that first. Thank you. It's that first line. You're quite correct on that. Like the inherent vowel and the Bostrifedon. But that first line, I understand what the author is saying, but it's interpretive. That first
Mm-hmm.
line, because the missionaries, what's the operative word? Developed?
He
Yeah.
say class developed, yeah.
And that can
Mm-hmm.
mean a lot of things. It could mean that, there was already a basic language or there was no language. You guys brought it in.
No, well,
But
it import the word letter. How you phrase it? He say the the literary language. So, and then he's saying it was presumably based on the spoken language. So he trying to it have a distinction there where he talking about between literary and spoken language now. Mhm.
yeah, I would say definitely if he's talking about like the nine saints of Ethiopia, which we was talking about earlier,
Yeah.
um, roughly around what 500 or so, give or take AD.
I
Um,
think it's that one. It's not. Wouldn't be them. Them would have come after the time of Fermentius. Then because he talking about in the fourth century. The fourth century is the 300s. Yes.
okay, yeah. But I was zooming in more. Good point you're making, because for the audience, fourth century 300s. That's like Azana, Frumentius, Abba Salama. But then if we now scroll ahead to like the fifth, around the 500 AD, this is when they say that the nine saints came in. And the question is, if you're trying to give it to Frumentius, I would not really agree on that, because they already had their linguistic, from the Stellars. They had their linguistics. They were writing in, a kind of a form of Ge'ez, or a form of like an earlier form. They were translating into like other languages, like what you call it, like Greek. I think Latin too, right? They were using a little bit of Latin as well.
Um. Well, I know Izana Stone. The three language one, Izana Stone, is Greek, Geese, and South Arabian.
And South Arabian, okay,
Uh-huh.
not Latin. Thank you for that, not Latin. So my point is that even at that time,
No, but I'm
the
not far fetched at all that Izana and them would have know Latin. They most probably would have. You understand? They most probably would have, but Greek was the lingua franca in that time, and in the region and thing for trade and them kind of thing, international trade and whatnot. Come like
and
how we
also
talk in English.
the Romans themselves. The Romans idolized the Greek culture in every facet except one. You know what that one, right? You know what way they
Mm.
didn't look up to the Greeks. Were idolized by the Romans in everything except the law. Everything you could say that the Romans borrowed or took lock, stock, and barrel from the Greeks except for law. That was the only thing where the Romans kind of maintained their own kind of, understanding, was in law. So that means that even to the Romans who came after the Greeks, that they still promoted Greek learning. So that means Greek, the Greek language was very important even to the Romans. So yeah, so seeing that and understand the Ethiopians are writing in the three languages, which is inclusive of translation or the ideas being expressed in Greek, because it's not quite always translation that's stellar. It's not, it's it's almost like they're writing to the Greek people what they want the Greeks to know. Or Greek speakers, you know what I'm saying? And that which is written in like the Ge'ez and the South Arabian is
It's
not
true.
always
It's
one.
true.
It,
It's
you know,
different. It has different. It's true what you're saying. It have different messages in the different language, but it might
see,
be based around the main points, but it had different little sayings and thing and different narratives in the different language. And
that's what I'm saying. So that means that they were politically savvy enough to not just translate in different languages, but express what they wanted to. They control their narrative. So when I agree with him generally speaking, but you're right, I really don't fully agree with him. I agree with what he's saying as a scholar, but it seems to put too much of a push in development at that time in the fourth century, when I would say that the literary process really increased into what we can call Ethiopic, grammar, Ethiopic literature, church literature, I think
yeah.
a couple of 100 years later on. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I think the point, his main point and his main argument, as far as what I understand, is that he's saying that the need to translate the scriptures like a text big like the scriptures is what necessitated the formation of the syllabary so that they could accurately like translate the pronunciations and things like that of the Bible text into Ethiopia.
Well, you know what the Ethiopians say? The Ethiopians say that they trace the is back to Enos or Enosh, Enosh, Enosh
Enoch,
in the
Enoch,
Bible.
yeah,
I mean, of course,
Enoch.
ones will say, "Oh, where's the archaeology? Where's the, where's the monuments? Where's the evidence?" But I say we shouldn't dismiss, a kind of a pre-knowledge. I'm not saying that the missionaries and even the 9 saints later on didn't have the influence, but I
Mm-hmm.
think we're not giving enough credit to, the Ethiopian, generally speaking, ingenuity. Like when I heard like Garfield, he was making some points before about like the only scriptures they have is Septuagint, right? Like Septuagint. And what we have
Yeah.
in the Ethiopic is just the Septuagint. But here's what's interesting. The 9 saints who are credited with a lot of that work, completing that task, they spoke
Mm-hmm.
Syriac. They spoke forms of Aramaic. They also spoke Greek, yeah, you know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is that he's dismissing even the earlier, documentation that no doubt was not the popular documentation, but that's dismissing that people had Hebrew scrolls. Look at the Ethiopian eunuch. The Ethiopian eunuch is going on a religious mission to the pilgrim to worship. He comes back and he buys a copy, or he gets a copy, or somebody gives him a copy of the scroll of Isaiah. That's why I sent you the thing about the preliminary history notes on ancient Ethiopian history.
Yeah.
When you get
So
to look that over,
you want me to bring up that? You want me to bring up that?
I think so for the audience, just to understand that um, the Ethiopian Horn of Africa goes deeper than the Septuagint, because I've actually looked at, I have copies of some things where there are different levels of Goethe's manuscripts. You know what I mean? There's different levels of Goethe's manuscripts. There are Goethe's manuscripts that any scholar looking at it will tell you this must have been translated from an older Hebrew scroll. This was not translated from a Greek scroll. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And there's scholars who can look at Greek, Ethiopic and discern that this likely was translated from a Septuagint into Ethiopic. So not everything in Ethiopic is from Septuagint. That's my main little point right there on that. But it is what is put out there. It is what is put out there. Yeah. There's a section, there's page 24. Page 24. If you can go to page 24.
I drop on this one, page 12, quickly, because it related to how you now brought up Enoch and thing now, and the key
Right.
script.
Yeah.
So they're saying, a survey of the scholarly literature on the origins of the Giz script is not any more helpful than that on the origins of Ethiopian civilization. Its main thrust is like that is its main thrust is that like all the other important features of Aksumite civilization, it developed from Sabian and was brought over from the other side of the Red Sea. The asterisk, that Dillman's account. Dillman's account, Ethiopic grammar, page 3, is typical. So this man he throwing all the shade on Dillman take on that. The name Ethiopic language, which the old nation, which the old national speech of Abyssinia commonly bears among us now, is derived from the classical denomination given to the inhabitants of these regions, and has been taken over from the Greek by the Abyssinians themselves. The, accordingly, they call their kingdom what we are saying there. Read you can read the glyphs there for me, King.
Where are we? Where are we? Hold on for one moment.
Right.
They call their kingdom. Oh, Ethiopia, 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 Ethiopia,
Yeah.
Ethiopia.
So
Yeah,
YA here, Ethiopia. Yes.
yeah,
Uh,
Ethiopia. Yeah, go ahead. Got you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it just make the point to the audience that is a, like what a syllabary is and how you could make out the word by almost seeing how much glyphs it have in it, like how much syllables in the word and things.
Yeah, yeah, the national language they have next part is Lisana Ethiopia. Lisana Ethiopia, or the tongue. Lisan is tongue of Ethiopia. Now it says later on the original native appellation for the people, however, and further for their speech is Gu'ez, literally roaming, or kind of, yeah, roaming, free, almost like somebody say free. I like you're free to move, like
Well,
roaming.
well, on this is the first. Well, I shouldn't say the first time, but it coming up to me here now that it's saying the original native appellation for the people. This is the first time I'm hearing or remembering it saying the people was named Giz, because that's what he's saying here.
Or
He said,
Agazi. Yeah, Agazi. Like Gizuan will be like free people. Agazi, like the people of the free. Often I've come in our brethren Lambden's book, he brings out the sense of the free people in some of his areas in the book. But yeah, the free
right.
people, the Agazi. So you made a good point that here the writer Haile Haptu, he's bringing out the point that both the people as well as their speech bear a similar or same name. That is a point that I think we have to remind ourselves of, that,
Mm-hmm.
that the people and the language, you know. So it says, then as a national designation in the sense of the Romans, the free, there he goes, the free. He says the free, and thus comes lisane, lisane, the tongue of Ag-Azi, 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 the tongue of the free. So lisane, Ag-Azi. So the people will call like the Agazi, Agazian, Gizuan, the free, the
All right. So you reach on to here, say Lestani Agazi, right? So you see the L here, the N thing there. Wait, this is the S with a shortened thing, so that's the A.
yeah,
So we have
it's
L
like
E S A N. Huh?
and, and yeah, L, like you have an L. How I would transcribe it? I'll put an L. A
Yeah.
L. I like to put the apostrophe there because the
I
apostrophe
see
is.
I see how you do it, but your transcription a little technical. Cause I read
I
it in
know.
I read your reasoning and thing in the Rastafarian fire key, and I read it and thing, and I appreciate it though. It really probably most accurate, but
That's an older work. That was an older work, a little more zealous in that work. In fact,
mm-hmm,
just reading with the man, I saw it to remember. I said, wait, didn't I do something like this? And then I looked it up and I said, oh wow, I forgot that I had went into that. And I thought that it was good, like you said, but it was a little bit
mm,
technical. But
yeah,
lit will be like Lisane. Simple
yeah,
Lisane. 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 Tongue of. That would be the tongue of. Lisane. Agazi. Agazi. So it's a good is construct. It's not really Amharic. It's really more the way it's constructed is good is. Lisana would not be tongue. Lisan will be tongue, but lisana will be the tongue of. You know, like saying haile is like saying the power of. So that means you need
Yeah.
something to qualify. Yeah, the tongue of the free. Lisana Agazi. Yeah, it's interesting you going to the beginning of his throw a little shade on Dilma, but check this out. Adamali Haile Selassie, he calls Dillman, if I'm correct, the German
Yeah.
father of
Of
Ethiopic study.
Ethiopia. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But you shared that with me a time previously. But Haile Selassie awarded Wolf Leslau like some the highest award in Ethiopia for his scholarly contributions and things, you know.
Well,
The higher way of that.
Wolf Lessall gets it. I mean, Dillman did such heavy scholarly work. He did a lot of heavy lifting. People don't understand that a lot of the manuscripts, like
Mm-hmm.
that, like for example, we have a good of the translated works like Kebra Nagast, Queen of Sheba, only son Menelik. We have the good You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? The Book of Enoch, we have the 2 or 3 Gutters manuscripts. A lot of other manuscripts, Dillman was very much about preserving these things, and these things are accessible to scholars like us. And I think it was
Mm-hmm.
a thing that he seems to have died prematurely. You know what I mean? There was other work
But,
he's going to do, and it really
but
had
he's a man who's living for just a little back information, and I like when you're rolling. I don't mean to cut you, but
no reason.
Dillman is a man come from the 19th century for the
Mm.
listeners. August Dillman and his seminal work, it published, I want to think is either 1880 something or 1865, I believe, is when he put out um, the classical the classical grammar on Ethiopia, or is either that or his dictionary. Dillman have a dictionary where it go from Geese to Latin and Italian.
Yeah. He be getting all up into the Italian and the Latin. He's heavy on the Italian and Latin. Yeah. You know,
Yeah, but
definitely.
he's a man come from a long he but it's true, he come like the foundation upon which Ethiopic studies is rest upon then, because how much work and thing he put in and create certain dictionaries and thing where scholars like Wolf Leslau and them put
That's what I was about
had a
to
great foundation to just improve upon and do, or like to refine and things like that.
Yeah. Wolf Leslar, he made it. He kind of made it more accessible to a lot of us because he was one of the
Mm-hmm.
first ones I really was able to appreciate love, appreciate love his work.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because it was available. You know, like the concise Amharic dictionary. You know that one, right? Concise Amharic
yeah.
dictionary. Yeah, those books were, and then he had it in Amharic. He had it in transliteration. You know what I'm saying? He had it
Yeah,
in
man.
English. So that was like that was a challenge for a lot of us. You know what I mean? I
A
I
little
don't know.
side note.
Hmm.
A little side note. As to the novice, would you recommend attempting to learn Ge'ez before Amharic or Amharic before Ge'ez? And then
Wow.
let me throw in even. All right, no, let me leave it right there. Them
Oh yeah.
like
You about to go some heights, huh? About to climb some mountains there, right? Um, I would say I would recommend in the present intellectual learning atmosphere, learning the basics
mhm,
of Amharic. I would basically say learning basic Amharic, becoming familiar with the language through Amharic. I think becoming familiar with the language of Amharic for ones who want to study Ge'ez will kind of open you up. But if you want to get into Ge'ez and have a, how can I say, a kind of a health, well, not, I'm not gonna say healthy. It can be challenging, depends on the student. It can be challenging, depending on the student. I know a lot of students that are radical, fundamental. They're like, I want to learn Ge'ez, not Amharic. I want to go back to the old stuff. So they be hitting me up. You're like, yo, what does this word mean? I'm like, hold on for a moment. You gotta learn to feed out. You gotta learn to feed out. You know, because
I suppose I might be one of those latter group people because from at least how it coming across to me, it's seeming like if you learn the Ge'ez in terms of like how the glyphs look and the first order, and then you go through. It come like once you learn the Ge'ez, you learn the pronunciation, anything where you could read in Amharic. You know, once you know to read the letters of Ge'ez, you could read Amharic, but you might know what the word refer to. So you just need to do a little vocabulary basically to pick up on Amharic after the Ge'ez. What you think?
Okay, let me ask you this. If if you and me started to learn Latin, Old Latin, all right, classical Old Latin, you think that would help us learn speak Italian?
I think I'm not even to sound like I'm trying to just be contrarian, but I think it would, because when we get into the study of etymology and thing, and we understand that like many of the English words or the Romance language words then from like Italian or French or English.
Slow. You're gonna be moving very slow. No,
Yeah,
I was there.
you will be moving slow, but it come like all right. Let me say a word, English word like complain or entertainment or any and most common usage English words. If you know the Latin root of it, you could just deduce what the word mean. Let me say you didn't even know English and you just knew Latin, but you saw an English word, you would be able to deduce what the word mean because you know Latin.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Most of the Ge'ez writing is like religious. Most of it is like religious, most of it is like scripture, most of it is like some old archaic books, like like the Bible, so forth and so on. And I would say that I do get why we want to learn Ge'ez. The speaking of Ge'ez and Amharic, they have two different cadences. They have two different kind of like flow. Like Amharic is like French. You know what I mean? It's like smooth. It's like French. You know what I mean? Sometimes it can be a little dubious too because it's so smooth. Ge'ez is more stilted. You know what I'm saying? Ge'ez is a little more stilted. Ge'ez is a whole different kind of a cadence. And then your point of reference of study is going to be very, very narrow. I did get into Ge'ez like Random book and so forth and so on. And I was happy that I was able to get familiar with it, to crack some things in my own head. You know what I mean? Like open up some things for myself. You know what I mean? That I felt comfortable with the Ge'ez. Even though I didn't know a whole lot, I felt like I could hold my own. You know what I mean? I could get where I need to go. But then my point of reference is like, okay, I'm meeting Ethiopians, right? And I'm like, well, I'm gonna talk to them a Ge'ez phrase.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's what I know too. It come like the interest, not really just the interest, but it's more like a person like yourself and thing who might want to learn the Ge'ez because it's not a so-called living language. But you see, me now, my interest into the Ge'ez is coming from like we could revive the Ge'ez to use like similar to like how they have binomial nomenclature in science and thing. Like you see like
Yeah,
how
yeah.
you must say
Right,
Homo
right.
sapien sapien or something. But we could be using our certain classical geese word and thing for like scientific notation or like
Bro,
naming species
bro,
and certain things.
bro, bro, and Coma, why you in my head, man? You going through my files? No, you said it perfectly in the sense of
Mm,
goodness is more for ones who really have that scholarly bent, because a scholar will know that you might have to put that down for a moment and pick up your Amharic. You know what I mean? But
mm,
you
mm,
use it as a point of reference. Like I have a book over here. It's a medical book. It's a medical book, one of the best medical books in Amharic. And I got a couple of other books that I noticed that some of the Ge'ez scholars, they will use Ge'ez in the same way that they use Latin or Greek for what you said, scientific notation. You know what I mean? To bring
mm,
out a better sense of something that might get muddled down in them hard. Like for
mm,
example, the word computer. The word
mm.
computer, I think, is a very, very good like example. The word computer, I think in Hebrew, okay, the word computer in English, I mean in Amharic is computer, computer, computer. It's a long word. You know what I mean? However, I
Yeah,
know
man.
that the word computer in Hebrew is it machshev, machsheva, machshev, machshev, from chashav, to think or to calculate.
Right.
And like what they did in the Hebrew with computer, what they did with the Hebrew, in Hebrew, they didn't take the word computer, computer,
Yeah.
computer. How do you say computer in Amharic? Computer. People like, oh, that
Yeah.
sounds like exactly. How you say computer in Hebrew? Makshev, makshev, makshev. You know, what does that mean?
Mm.
To think, hostile, to think. We could have called computer in Amharic um 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 um
Mashafa.
or,
Mashafa. So,
or Mesabia or Masab, Masabia, from the word to think. It's basically the word to think, to calculate. That's what the
but I
word
said,
comes.
yeah, maybe you could put it as like, could the word for book now, the book, macha, the word for
Metzab,
book and give. Yeah,
Metzab.
that might that seem like if it related to even the word for thinking. What do you think about that?
Yeah, because remember the word computer, original computer was man. The original computer was man. If you go back to
Mm.
the old English dictionaries and you look up a computer in the old English dictionary, the definition will be something like this: a man who can count, a man who can reckon, a man who can calculate was a computer. That's why the Bible says, let him who has wisdom count the number of the beast, for it's the number of a man, blah, 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 blah. You know, chi, sty, stigma, or 666, however one want to look at it. Boom. Right there, it told us that the computer, original computer, was a man who can reckon, who can count, who can, like when we say reckon, like kind of like do logical formations in their mind, or literally do math.
Mathematics.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I
My point was
yeah.
making that the modern Amharic suffers because a lot of the points of reference don't use the Ge'ez as notation. There's a lot of loan wordism. You know what I mean? And the loan word is, it's like Amharic is developing based on crowdsourcing. While in the days of His Majesty and in other days gone by, it was the intellectuals, the scholars, you know what I mean, who would bring things out from like the Ge'ez, like they do with Latin. You know, like if you go to a doctor or medical, or we look at technology, it all references either Latin or Greek. You know what I'm saying? In law, look at law. In law, I think that's why His Majesty did the Fita Neges, because I think he foresaw that if we really want to improve our law, we have to be able to make reference, you know what I mean, to an older and a more, when I say purer language, a language that says what it means and means what it says. You know what I'm saying? So when you mentioned about using it for scientific notations, that was excellent. That's exactly. But I think we have to kind of get ourselves off of the zeal. I would say learn Amharic, but also make reference to Ge'ez in your studies. Use Ge'ez like they use Latin. It's classical writing. You know what I mean? You know, it's the root writing. But don't be so, like, some people are so overzealous. It's like, I only want to learn Ge'ez. I don't want to speak Ge'ez. I'm like, you're gonna be you're gonna be kind of like, you're gonna go to a restaurant and won't be able to order injera or wet. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And then a lot of the Ge'ez, how can I say? And this may sound strange to people, a lot of it's too churchy, man. A lot of it's like, and I have nothing against it to why they faith, but sometimes you want to like explore other things intellectually. Yeah, if you understand what I mean.
True.
You know, and this is what I thought that His Majesty really was helpful in doing with the Fita Neges, other things. He was, you know, half of the Fita Neges, half of it actually focuses on business, contracts, law. You know, the only version of it that's popular on the internet is a part on the church and religion. I'm not saying that's bad or that's wrong. You know what I mean? Coming from where I'm coming from, of course. But even from somebody who recognizes the value of the faith and the religion, or the, you know, spirituality and religion, sometimes it'd be too much. How do we say the word computer is? Because see that the Hebrew was the way what they did in Hebrew was superior to what we did with Amharic. You follow what I'm saying? Like the word for car is mekina. Well, actually, in Hebrew, it's mekino too. So it's a kind of like a loan word too. So
Machine.
Hebrew, yeah, machine, machina, mekina, machine. You know what I mean? How do we develop a term like automobile? That means we have to look into of what's the word for auto, self, mobile, moving, self-moving. You know what I mean? And try to craft the word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But last point I want to say on this is that hail up to the Ethiopian scholars. There's a lot of good scholars. I'm talking about that. We don't know of them because we need to know of them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of scholars that have been doing their work.
Call to name for we, man. Call to name for we, so we could do a little check-in when we check in. One is Habte Haile. Hailu Habtu. Hailu Habtu. Yeah. But give we our next Ethiopian scholar.
Oh, give a next one?
Yeah. Just mention the name now.
Okay, Hailu Hatu. Well, that's his brother right here. Some of the names are escaping me. There's a brother who wrote the book. I don't know if it's Daniel, the Ethiopic book.
It have one name Alem something to you know.
Yeah. There's a few of them that I have that I read, but apologies right now on bringing out a name right here. Let me point to this book right here because I've been talking about this one right here. Hopefully this shelf.
Well, you know, you did tell me to go to page 24 and reach it yet, so I feel I'm going to just read the rest of the little passage where we was thinking here, and then I'm going to go to the page 24 point where you was telling me to bring up now. You understand?
Yeah. Hold on for a moment. That Ethiopic book. Hold on for a moment. That Ethiopic book. It's a very good book that Ethiopic book. Give me one moment. No, not Ethiopic Book of Enoch. Ethiopic Book of Enoch. Because sometimes to understand the religious things, we have to have a wider understanding of the language. You know what I mean? Because the religious spiritual books actually actually are talking about life. So if we just have like a religious kind of understanding, we're not really understanding what the real spirituality we're trying to tell us about life. Cause we're like keeping it in like a, like a kind of a, yeah. Hold on for a moment. Yeah. Um, I'm trying to find this other book. I'll bring it out. I'll be better prepared next time. Just vibes and right here. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I was trying to find the name of the book. Daniel, I think it was a brother named Daniel. I forget his last name right now. But he wrote a good book on Ethiopic. He was going into like the ancient development of the language from the most ancient times, connecting it with the paleo, and the pictograph, and showing things.
Let me see what James Bruce coming in with now. You see, well, continuing with Hailu Habtu. You see, in origin and essence, Ethiopic is a pure Semitic speech transplanted by people who migrated from Yemen to Abyssinia. A less known and an unorthodox hypothesis is that of James Bruce, Volume 1, page 420 to 421. You see, it seems also probable that the first alphabet was Ethiopic, first founded on hieroglyphics, and afterwards modeled into more current and less laborious figures, for the sake of applying them to the expedition of business. Mr. Fomont is so much of this opinion that the beta resembles the door of a house or temple. Yeah, like the bet symbol he talking about resembling the house symbol. And A.J. Drew's inscription, page 92, doubts the validity of this proposition. No, that is not from that comment there is from a higher up thing here. Right. So he's saying that A.J. Drew's doubting that Aksumite, how the main things developed from Sabia and brought across from the other side of the Red Sea. He's saying A.J. Drew's in his inscription, page 92, he doubts the validity of that proposition. But the man say, others are forgiving to the letters a divine original, saying that they were taught to Adam by God himself. But this is nowhere vouched, though it cannot be denied that it appears from scripture there were two sorts of characters known to Moses when God spoke to him on Mount Sinai. The first two tablets, we are told, were wrote by the finger of God, in what character is not said, but Moses received them to read to the people, so he surely understood them. But when he had broken these two tables and had another meeting with God on the mount of the subject of the law, God directs him specially not to write in the Egyptian characters or hieroglyphics, but in the current hand used by the Ethiopian merchants, like the letters upon a signet. That is, he should not write in hieroglyphics by a picture representing the thing for that the law forbids, and the bad consequences of this were evident, but he should write the law in the current hand by characters representing sounds, though nothing else in heaven on earth, or by the letters that the Ishmaelites, Cushites, and Indian trading nations had long used in business for signing their invoices, engagements, and this was the meaning of being like the letters of a signet. There's traditional Ethiopian accounts,
ILO.
Ailahu
Yeah,
Ayalo Tamaru.
there you go. Yeah,
So, but where
that
this piece of script, where that piece of talk come out from?
where?
This this one already there about
Oh, scroll down.
that's highly have to write in.
You know, no, scroll down, scroll down, scroll. Yeah, stop. That right there, traditional accounts. That was from Ayalo Tamaru. At the end of it, this was like his thesis paper back in the 80s or 90s, 80s, 90s. At the end of it, there's like a list of books in Amharic as well as English.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the author. That's one of the authors. He quotes from his book, um, Ayalu Tamaru, page
Yeah,
2021. So you have
right now
Ethiopia.
I was just getting a little confused. I was thinking that this narrative on top here was said by Ayalu Tamaru, but it's not. This is have to write in here, and then he now bringing in a new point, quoting Ayalu down here. Now. So he's saying traditional Ethiopian accounts claim Ge'ez to have been single language in current. Hold on, like a two zoom in there right now.
Yeah, that's Ayalu Tamaru's book right there that he quoted from. Let me go to the
Yeah,
end of the book right here.
yeah.
And
He
this
said claim to have been the single language in currently throughout the world before the confusion of tongues and quote Genesis 11:1 to support the contention. I don't know if you could make out this for us and give us
yeah,
a
well,
reading of it.
there's a bibliography at the end of the document, that
Yeah.
document by Hailu Haftu. And this is from, that was a quote from Ayalu Tamaru's book, Yeah, Ethiopia in that, the faith of Ethiopia, that Sostu Higagad in 3 laws. There's a book written in Addis Ababa in 1960 by Ayalu Tamaru. That was the brother's quote of him there. But here we have, because some Ethiopian scholars have some very interesting scholarship that a lot of times isn't brought out. This is where Ahadu, no, stop moving on for a moment. Where Ahadu Negaru was Abulu Alem, Bulu or Abulu Alem. Okay, this is supposed to bring out the sins from Genesis, where and Ahadu and one Negaru. But it says, is that Ebulu, Abulu, Ebulu, or Ekulu Alem? Okay, Ekulu is kind of mistyped, yeah, Ekulu Alem, Ekulu Alem. So that's like a good way of saying from one language, all the Ekulu Alem, the all of the Alem, all of the world from like one negero. It's a way of bringing out the quote
It's
there.
just it's right here underneath it. Yeah, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech.
But but
That's what.
but, but it's a translation, but it's how can we say, it's the Good's way, if you understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. In other words,
Yes, of
he
course, yeah, man.
gives you the standard. He gives you the standard what you're used to in the Bible, but
All
in
right.
that,
So give me the Ge'ez censor the phrase then, or give me the Ethiopic censor are these words the same words here?
well, and one like speech, the
Mm-hmm.
entirety of the earth and the entirety of the world. It doesn't really
True.
say it doesn't really say earth there. It don't say earth there. It doesn't use the word lisan for language. It's kind of it's kind of like the good is quotes from the good is to kind of bring out the
Mm-hmm.
biblical part. If you understand what I'm saying. So it's not like a
So
word
this
for
last
word.
word here is not alem. This is not
Which
alem
one? Which one? What
on
are you
the last.
pointing to?
This here.
Yeah, that's Alem. That's Alem right there.
But
but the
Alam is
word
world.
alam is not the word alam is world, is not really earth. You know what I'm saying? There's different words used. What I'm trying to do
Yeah,
is go
it's
to
world.
the good is. Remember the good is thing that you shared with me? The good is what was that? That was the Bible. Remember we were sharing that the good is Bible. I want to open
Yes.
this for a moment, and I want to go to what's that called? Genesis 11, and I
You
want to
want
see
me
what
bring
if you probably can bring it up quicker than and for the
it?
audience. Let's see.
Let's see if I can get up while you could continue thinking on your ends there, and I'll see if I can get it up in the meanwhile.
Yeah, just for one quick moment right here. One quick moment. Okay, Genesis 11. Genesis 11. I just want to read what the gut is and see if he quoted the gut is here, just to prove whether he quoted the gut is or whether he paraphrased. Sometimes in Ethiopian works it will be a direct quote, sometimes it'll be a
Mm.
paraphrase. So yeah. Here's the verse. He didn't quote the full verse. Actually, he didn't quote the full verse. And the gut is where ahadu negaru lekulu alem where ahadu kelo or ahadu kelo. Is this the kelo or is it
What what verse we on the King?
Genesis 11:1? Yeah, but I really don't like this translation fully. I'm almost gonna run and get my Goodness Bible. I'm talking about my Dillman, Goodness. No, he was diligent. No, I love that German dude. No, for real. I like
So
diligence in the scholarship.
11 what was the verse 11 what?
11:1, 11:1, 1:1, 11:1. A little bit
111.
more. You see right there, they go. It's right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Now notice in the way he wrote it by hand in his book, right? He wrote it by hand in his book. You see what it says, where ahadu, like the where ahadu, right? Negeru.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at what
Yeah.
he wrote the where, the conjunction and then he
Mm.
wrote the Ethiopic cipher for one that looks like this. You ever
Yeah.
notice that it looks almost just
So,
like this?
oh, show me where you show me there. Show look like what?
Okay, when you go back to the book by Haftu Hailu, I don't know if you still have that right there, and you go to what you
Yeah.
asked me to read, right there, like I'm scrolling. You see right there, highlight that whole Amharic, the goodness part. Right there we go. You see, he has the where on the other side. There we go. You see the where, then you see there is like it looks like a 6 and a bar below it and a bar above it.
Yes, I.
That right there is the Ethiopic ahads. That's the cipher for one. The cipher that looks like
Right.
this for one, right? And it has a
Yes.
bar on top and the bar on bottom. And then he puts
No,
do.
no. What I want to ask, and well, I want to bring in to bring to notice that
Mm.
the Ethiopic numerals, right, is really the numbers of the Greek letters with two bars on the with a frame on top and bottom. So like this would like that one
Speculation.
there would be Aleph. Huh?
Speculation. No. I'm ribbing you, Jed. I'm
Yeah.
ribbing you a little bit. Speculation. Blasphemy.
No, well,
Well,
sometime we go compare them and see, you know. But I believe it's so.
and where did
The letters from I know, yeah, where the Greek come from.
where did the
The
Greek
ancient
come from?
Ethiopian from back in the day, man. But
Go through. Good point.
I
Good
think
point,
I
bro.
actually have that. Yeah, I feel I have that somewhere here, where it is
No,
numbers.
I think he touches on it a little bit in his work, where he he is like he compares what other scholars say about Ethiopia, and he
Yeah.
basically says, okay, this is what they say, but he presents some Ethiopian teaching and research that often does not get highlighted. So yes, the letters, the Greek, I mean the Ethiopian ciphers, the symbols, they do appear very strongly to resemble Greek letters. They do appear very strongly to resemble Greek letters. I'm not fully persuaded that it was just what people might think, but there is a strong resemblance, very strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah. So
What I'm trying to say is that there's more to. Okay, here's what I mean by it. If we go back to ancient Egypt, right? Keep that on the screen for a moment. If we go back to ancient Egypt, right? We go
yeah.
to ancient Egypt, right? And there was a people from Crete that are on the monument, and they look like black people and everything. They're called by scholars the Minoans, but in ancient Egypt they're called the Keftiu people. They are the original people, right, said to inhabit those isles that later on become known as Greek. They seem
Mm,
to be a melanated people. So what I'm trying to say is that these Keftiu people from Crete, Keftiu, right, are the progenitors of what we call the Greek people today, and they were Afro Black melanated people. So my point
mm,
is that even things like Greek in its origination began with Black people. This is my point I wanted to make. That's all. You know what I mean?
mm.
So that a
Yeah,
lot of
man.
times, oh, it's Greek, it's Greek. And when we really research, we say, well, the original Greeks were Black people. Well, so what are we saying then? Can we speak Greek
Mm,
or not?
mm.
Is it Black or
And
is it not?
a side point is commonly known that the in the Hebrew that the letters carry a numerical value, and they have the system what they know as gematria, that is ascribe connections and relations to words that counting up to the same numerical value, and they probably have other esoteric interpretations to the gematria and thing. I want to know if it similarly have gematria in the
Ethiopia.
Ethiopic, or if
Oh,
you come across that tool.
of course, of course. I mean, I think the Arabs call it um, abjad. Abjad. They call it the abjad. The abjad, where there's a numerical value to letters and words. Ethiopic has it as well, and they have it in, when I say in spades. I sent this to
Mm,
you. The book I wanted to quote to you. It was the book
yeah.
by it's called this. What's the book right here? It's Ethiopic and African Writing System. I don't know if you ever seen it. I sent it to you by
Yes.
Ayala Bekeri. Ayala
Mm-hmm.
Bekeri. He also explores the same thing. In other words, where there's two forms of it. One which matches like the Hebrew and the like Arabic and Afro-Shemitic languages, and then they have
Mm,
another system which goes into a little more advanced math. So that yes, they
mm,
do. They do. They have like a twofold system. One that resembles like the Hebrew in the numbering,
mm,
and the value, and then they have another one which is like kind of off the charts, so to speak. It's it's like more advanced math. Let me put it like that. So
mm,
the Ethiopian does resemble the Hebrew in the basics, but you have another level of it that's like Ethiopian Kabbalah on the level.
mm,
In other words, for example, the, the first letter Aleph is one usually, right? But then
mm,
the Ethiopian have like, A, U, E, A, E, O. And we have a system
yeah.
where they where each vowel sound is another nuance of a number. You follow what I'm saying? So when you go through all 33 times 7, which is 231, you know what I mean? You're gonna be on a some higher, you know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, they do. But that's a good point you brought up right there about the Greek, how it resembles the Greek. I want to say that it does resemble the Greek, but I think there's more to it than thinking that the Ethiopians just slavishly, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna take Greek letters, no numbers. No, I think there's something deeper to it. That's why I kind of made that little pun when I said like blasphemy.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah. So what? Before we wrap up, because it's getting a little late.
Yeah. It is in the
I'll
early.
go to the page 24 point to the I the request me to pull up. So let me see. You know what it was specifically? It's
Okay,
page 20.
specifically, I think where we can maybe sum it here, and we can pick up on it more was 24. No, keep scrolling down. No, 24 on the page itself. You're going
Right.
back up.
On the page. Oh no, I was trying to find because he was thinking about Enoch now.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to return to that one right there. Right there. Scroll down, like what page is that? That's 24. Okay, go to the next, go to 23. 23 if you can. Sorry about that. 23.
23.
Yeah, the next page. Oh, okay. No. Keep going. There's one part I want to go to.
Go up.
Yeah, one more. Pause right there, where it says the exegetic
The
tradition.
exegetic tradition. Yeah. Oh, 1 second. Let me get it back. Like it's at a bounce out. Of place. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Want to run it out.
Okay, yeah. Right here, the exegetic tradition in Goodness is profound. There may be some clues. Yeah. My screen is small here. I don't know if you can read it. Some clues and
I'll go read it since you're on your phone. The exegetic tradition in Ge'ez is profound, and there may be some clues and answers in that rich corpus. It is certain, in any case, that Ethiopian biblical scholars distinguish between at least 4 versions of the Torah. And they say in Desta Tekle Wolde, page 140, in this book,
no. That's not the book. That's the author. At the end of the book, you'll see the bibliography. So you'll see the same name. He didn't include it fully there. That's the author.
this Amharic free this Ethiopic letter in here is the author, you say?
No. It's not the author. The way
This is the name of the work. This is the name of the work what this man write. That's the technically will he write this book.
No, it's not. It's not. Okay, hold on for a moment. Can you still see your WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Can you still see WhatsApp? Because this will help the eye right here. Here, I'm gonna send you the key. At the end is a bibliography. The way Haile Haptu writes his work, he doesn't go through a full bibliography when he brings in his points. He kind of leaves it to the end of the end work. So when you go to like the end of the work, you see the fuller name of like the. Okay, I'm gonna send it to you right now. I took a screenshot from before. Tell me when you got it. It should.
I'm now realizing what going on here. He's saying that how he distinguished between at least 4 different versions of the Torah, and then so this is one version which is the Masoretic Torah. This one here is the priestly Torah. This one here is Septuagint Torah, and this one is Samaritan Torah.
Exactly.
that is what I read. Yeah.
Exactly. And his book, I just sent it to you. His book is right here. His book is what was it? Desta.
That's
Wait,
the
wait.
technical. It's in the Amharic as well in the back there, 1970.
Okay, yeah, you got it already. Wow, wow. I glanced over. Yeah, Adis. His book is called Adis Amarenya Mezgebek Alat. New Amharic Word Treasury. In other words, New Amharic Dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
Word register. Yeah, my wife just heard me. Word register, like treasury, or it could be like a treasury of words or a registry of words. So yeah, what he's saying right here is that there are Ethiopic biblical scholars,
Mm.
and this Ethiopic biblical scholarship. But here's the thing: a lot of it has been only written in Amharic or Ge'ez or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so
True.
therefore, we're at a crucial time now where more is beginning to be translated into English, and we have to up our ability to go into Amharic and even the Ge'ez in order to get this 180 different view of ancient biblical history. You know what I'm saying? I'm not rejecting what we're learning from, scholarship in the West and so forth and so on, but I'm saying it's only one half of the story. Like we say, the other
True.
half of the story has never been told. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man.
So when he breaks down right there, when I read that right there, that was my favorite part right there. I said, whoa, 'cause I was already learning that there was more than one. When we say Torah, there was like the part you highlighted before. It says Orite Ihud. Orite Ihud. The first thing when you asked me, was that the name of the book? It's Orite Ihud. Orit is the word used in Ethiopic for
Torah.
Torah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Orite, the Torah of Ihud, the Torah of the Jews, right? And that's how they refer to Masoretic Torah. The next one says Orite Lewawian. Orite Lewawian, right there. There you go. Orite Lewawian. Lewawian is a way of saying Levites. So Orita
Mm-hmm.
Lewawian is like the Torah of the Levitical Torah or the priestly Torah. Then you have Orita Likanat. Orita Likanat. The next one right there. Orita Likanat. Right? That one right there. Likanat. Lik means like learned ones. Likanat is like scholars. Likana.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could say, yo, bro, your knowledge is leak. It's like saying
Yeah.
it's superior. It's out there. That's what they call the Septuagint Torah. And then we
Mm.
have the Orita, lastly, Samrawian. Orita Samrawian. That's Samrawian. Samrawian is a way of saying Samaritans. So just from
Mm.
what he said right there, he's saying there's a whole exegetic tradition that is known to the Ethiopians and the people of
Mm.
them that the scholars be studying, but they be giving us this Romanist crap. If you understand what I'm saying, they be giving us
Mm.
like the European Jews and the Romanist crap, but they be studying this. And this is why they always be coming out with new angles, because they are looking at the Ethiopian scholarship, but the Ethiopian scholarship, how can I say, years ago when I started to learn about like almost 30 to 40 years ago, learn about Ethiopian scholarship and thing, Ethiopians are very guarded. You know what I'm saying? Ethiopians didn't reveal their secrets so easily, if you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Yeah.
therefore, the European respected that, and he was always kind of learning and knowing it. So, a lot of things we have to be able to kind of dive in ourselves. So, like bringing up this
Mm.
reason here, and bringing up the fact that we're going to learn first, the Ge'ez or the Amharic. I would say learn both, but I would say learn the Amharic, right? So you can ask questions to Ethiopians about the Ge'ez. You get what I'm saying?
Right, right. Definitely,
You know?
definitely.
And they'll be
Yeah,
highly
man.
impressed that you know some Amharic, but you're asking about the goods. You know what I mean? A lot of them might
Yeah,
not be able to help you with the goods, but there are those in Ethiopian society who are on
yeah,
those levels of scholarship. You know what I mean? And I think
definitely.
it's kind of lonely for them. It's kind of lonely, but we as Rastafari scholars might help to kind of get that fire back. You know what I mean? Because we take that interest in it beside the Europeans and others, you know? So
Yeah,
um
definitely.
that part there, I just one more, if you can just go through that next paragraph and maybe we pause on it, but that next
I will run
paragraph,
out this. I will read this paragraph quickly too. The status and date of the Geese version of the Old Testament has not been satisfactorily determined by mainstream biblical scholarship, nor has the Ethiopian account been properly investigated or appraised. Yet, were the Ethiopian account found valid, it would have significant implications for the way ancient history is viewed, especially the Judeo-Christian heritage and derivatively the Islamic heritage. The text of the Ge'ez Bible and some of Ge'ez manuscript sources offer fascinating clues and leads that would help determine the status and date of the various early biblical versions. The following translation of a Ge'ez passage is one such important lead. It is taken from a manuscript of the life and contendings of Kawestos. Yes, the life and
so
contentment of Westos. Well,
here's that whole
I ain't
thing
gonna
there.
have we say,
Scroll down. No, he has that whole thing there in the gut is, and then he
right?
provided a translation. That's what I was trying to bring forward on Priest Isaac platform.
Yeah.
When I think you was
They,
asking about the oldest manuscripts or something like that, and that's
yes,
what
yes.
came up. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna read this here for the audience and them.
Oh yeah.
And
This
after
is.
this,
Mhm.
our fathers lived according to the law of Moses, keeping the Sabbath of the law as Moses' Torah commands. But the children of Israel who were in Jerusalem did not honor the day of the Sabbath. And so arose Isaiah and Jeremiah, the children of the prophets, and rebuked them according to the commandment of the Torah of Moses. But they did not heed their admonition. On account of this, there came upon them a punishment from God, and the children of Israel were made captive and fell into the hands of unbelievers, who were not of our God in the practice of righteousness. And Jerusalem was sacked, and she became a den for beasts. And in that era, when Jerusalem was destroyed, our fathers sent a message to the children of Israel, even unto the land where they were taken captive, saying, how have you been, and how have fared the books of the prophets of our fathers and of yours? Were they burnt at the time of captivity, or are they safe? And how have you been, you the children of Israel and the children of the prophets? Did you bow in worship of the idols of the heathens to the alien gods? And how have you conducted yourselves? Did you violate the Sabbaths of the Lord? And after this, when they heard the message of our father, our fathers, they marveled and said, as for us, we have fared well on account of the prayers of Daniel, Azariah, Ananiah, and Misael. Our God and God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, protecting us. As for you, go forth and search the books of the laws of Moses and those of the prophets. We live in a country of captivity, and you in a land of peace and security. Only take this book from our father Daniel the prophet. Here is the meaning of this matter. To our fathers came from the book of prophecy of Daniel in the hand of one non-believer who was sent by Isir, the king of Ethiopia, to Darius, the king of Persia and Medan, that which says, while I was praying and lightening the burden of my sins in the sight of the Lord, Gabriel came to me. This book they appended to the book of the Torah of Moses, which came from Jerusalem with our fathers of formerly in the time of Solomon, which says, 6 days do thy work, on the seventh day rest. After thus had come to our fathers the word text of the prophet Daniel. Jerusalem was rebuilt in the time of Zerubbabel, in the cap and the captive Israelites returned to their country. And in that time our fathers went to Jerusalem, for Zerubbabel had written to the Ethiopian king, saying, the peace of God be with you. Hear me for the sake of God, that which I ask, and send it to me. For by the holy name of the God of our fathers, the Israelites, I beseech you, for the book of the Torah of Moses reached to your country before the destruction of Jerusalem, in the hand of one of your kinsmen, the son of Solomon. As for me, I am sending you the books of the prophets, which are taken, which are from God, which the successors to the prophets of earlier times wrote in the country of Babylon and Cyrus. And you sent to me the books of the prophets which precede me, and are from before the destruction of Jerusalem, and which have existed in the domiciles of your fathers, so that they may be unto us hope in the Lord, the God of our fathers, of mine and of yours. On hearing this, the king of Ethiopia called our fathers and said to them, take the book of the Torah of Moses and of Joshua and of Samuel and Judges, and the Psalms of David, with the book of Kings and the book of Solomon. Go to the city of Jerusalem and Zerubbabel, and you having written them down, copy them. Bring to me the books of the holy prophets that did not come to us formerly in the time of our fathers. Take 2,200 dinars of gold for your journey, and 200 dinars of gold let it be for you as a present to Zerubbabel, that you may receive honor in his sight. The 2,200 for your journey. Having taken this, our fathers went to the city of Jerusalem and met King Zerubbabel. And they met in peace with the children of the prophets, and they displayed in the presence of Zerubbabel the books of the prophets which had come to our country earlier. In turn, they, that is the Israelites, showed them books of the minor prophets that had not come for us before this time. They, that is the Ethiopian, our fathers, brought the prophecy of Ezekiel and the book of Isaiah and the book of prophet Jeremiah. These books carrying our fathers returned from the city of Jerusalem during the reign of Zerubbabel. Yeah.
Now,
So
that is so important there, because later on, as he goes on, Haile Haptu, he makes the point that in Jewish tradition, they say that Ezra was the one who had returned with Nehemiah from the Babylonian captivity after 70 years. And that it was him and the other scribes that kind of rewrote a lot of the Hebrew, like Masoretic, other things. But they say, curiously, in the Torah scrolls, he doubts some things. And there are, like, when you're reading the Hebrew, there are like certain critical notation and doubt points. And this was only true if, why would he have to doubt if he came from Hebrew? And this is kind of something that's well known if you study things from a Judaic perspective. You know that Ezra is, we have the Torah today because of ones like Ezra. The Masoretic is often credited to the time of Ezra. But in it, there were areas where there were doubts. And so he makes a very good argument that is highly plausible that this is because this story, this narrative is true. You know what I mean? That the Ethiopians sent the book they had from like Queen of Sheba, Solomon, Queen of Sheba time, up until the time of Solomon. Then after that, the Israelites went into captivity and the prophets came about. And from actually looking at Ethiopian books of prophets, you can tell that the way it's translated did not come from a Septuagint, if you understand what I'm saying. There's indications that this was translated from like a Hebrew text. You know what I mean? So there are like layers of language there. Like if I show you a King James 1611 Bible, you know that that's not how people speak today. You know what I'm saying? But you know it's still English. You know what I mean? You be able to look at it and say, "Oh, this is English," but this is not. This is like Shakespeare, but we don't talk that way. You see that how there's different layers of language. There's
Yes,
Shakespeare.
sir.
Shakespearean English is different than Elizabethan English. You know what I'm saying? Although to
Yes,
some
sir.
people it's all English, but if you study language, you're like, no, this is not Shakespeare because that's how they said it in Elizabeth time. That's called Elizabethan English. You know, so
Mm.
Amharic, when you study the language and translation, you can see kind of a difference, like a different, I can say a different slant of the language that can display a different time period, like an older writing versus a newer writing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Yes, I.
You know what I
Yeah, man.
mean? You know, like if I write you today and I say SMH, right? SMH, you know what that means. Now imagine I bring you an ancient scroll. I say, yo, bro, this is an ancient scroll. And you say, brother, translate it for me. And I say, yeah, so what he says here is, I looked at it and SMH. I couldn't believe it. You're like, well, hold on for a moment. You said this is what it says, SMH. You would know that could not be an ancient scroll.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because we use
yeah.
SMH today. And likewise, vice versa, you know that way. We don't talk this way today. So this couldn't have been written
Mm.
now. This is written in an older style of English. You know what I mean? So
Now look.
just on that scholarship, yeah, on that level of scholarship. But yo, my brother, we got to pick up on the King Isor point, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because the Jews never explain what the Jewish encyclopedia means. Why would Ezra have to doubt a Hebrew scroll if it was originally translated from Hebrew?
Yeah. Now look what I pull up here. There's the root. There's we inside the index of Semitic roots from Leslau now, and we have the Ahad
Wow.
from the
Mm.
Arabic, okay? And Ugaritic, we have Ahadu. Hebrew is Ahad, and so forth and so forth. You know, from this is the same root from the Tiwahido and the Ahadu and them thing there. Mhm.
Yeah, that's yeah, one. Now, I don't know if this dictionary is full like it, but if you look up Wahad,
No, this specifically, uh, we could it had the dictionary too, you know. We could get the Geese English dictionary up too, but this is specifically an index of the Semitic roots now. You know,
okay, got you, yeah, yeah,
it's not it ain't gonna have like full words and thing like that to say, and you know what I mean. But I could pull up the Geese dictionary, but I feel I say we was going thing we was going on save this for our next thing, but due to how it's only 3 page and thing, I feel like we should run through this lesson one and then wrap up this episode here. All right, what do you think?
I say we here. So how about
Right.
this? Lesson one, yeah. I haven't seen lesson one in a while. There's no definite article or indefinite article in Ethiopic. That's a whole discussion in itself. It's correct. There's no definite or indefinite article, you know, in Ethiopic. So when you say something like, okay, for example, Ethiopic 101, Hagar, Hagar, right? Hagar, right? Hagar is a city, or Hagar could be the city. Negush, Negush. You see the tilde. I don't forget the tilde. What's that?
Yeah,
You see
I forget what that is gay the shh sound, the sh sound.
Yeah, nigush, nigush, nigush. So basically, it's like in his translation, yeah, Hagar or Hagar. Like in Amharic, we would say Agar. In Amharic, you say Agar. In it is like Hagar. So we have nigush. Now prepositions. Most prepositions are written as separate before the noun they govern. So, for example, if you're going to say like wista, wista hega, wista hega is like into the city. Diba, Deba Dever. Oh, a point I didn't mention it, but the A by itself is like an S sound.
Like a
The A
what?
is like an S sound. So
Uh,
wista, not wista, but Hega, wista Hega, Deba or Deba Dever, Deba, not Dabar, not Daver, but Deber,
Deba.
Deb.
Deba Deba.
Yeah, Diva is like Diva, like on Diva, like Diva on Deber, right? The Deber, like I say Deber Damo, like you hear about like Deber Damo in Ethiopia, Deber Damo,
Yeah,
you know, yeah. So that's the mountain. Now you have the exceptions here. These are the prepositions here. There's be, be, like in, on, like in or with, like be, like it applies to like a location. Like we say, Besima Ab, where Wole, where Memphis Kudus, Be, Sima Ab, in the name of Be. So in or with, in the sense of with the name of Be, Sima, in the name of. Then you have le, not la, but le, right? Le is like two or four, like le negush, like for the king, le negush, le. Then you have the im, im is like from. They go into the technical ablative and source. For example, you know the phrase for conquering lion of the tribe of Judah? In the Ge'ez, it's Moa Anbesa Ze'im, Ze'im Negeda, from the tribe of Ze'im Negeda Yehuda, from the tribe of Yehuda. So Im has a sense of like from, Im Negeda, from the tribe of Yehuda. So these are like the prepositions. Be, like means in or with. Le means like to or for, and in means like from. Like, so this is kind of like used, for example, like Besime, in the name of, Le Negus, for the king. In Yehuda, from Judah, or in Negeda Yehuda, from the tribe of Judah. Now, this is always written, let's say, as a unit with the following word. Okay, they give an example. Okay, here they get into the linguistics. You see that word right there? It says
Axel.
Bechayil, 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 Bechayil.
Hayel.
The
Hayel.
X is like the
The
KH
same
sound.
is the same H with the subscript dot underneath it. Is that same? The X is the same CH sound.
Well, it is the same CH sound, but a point of order. In
Yeah.
Hebrew, there are two H's. In Hebrew, there are only two H's. In
Yeah.
Amharic, I mean, in Ge'ez, we're here in Ge'ez. In Ge'ez, there are three H's. One is a ha, One is a ha, 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 like we say Muhammad, 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 like Alhamdulillah, Alham, hum, hum, hum,
yeah.
hum. It's that ha, 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 ha. It's like from your belly, ha, ha. Then you have the third one that X represents. That's the ha,
Mm.
like
So
in
it would be this one,
yeah,
the
in
chet.
Hebrew. Yeah, in Hebrew, the chet, the chet. Remember the chet?
Chet.
Yeah, the chet. What we had went over before, the chet. Oh, they have it right there. A fence, like an inner door, like the fence, closing the fence. Ha is open fence. Chet. But you're right. In Amharic, I mean, in the Guttans that we're studying,
Yeah.
like I said, Hebrew only have 2 H's. Guttans has 3.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Arabic
But
also
yeah.
has,
Good.
yeah, Arabic also has 3. So Hebrew is somewhat missing, like the het does double duty, in other words, you know what I'm saying? But there we have the word behayel, behayel, behayel. But you're right about the sound. The sound is the same in the word. The sound is the same. I just wanted to let ones know that Hebrew only has 2 H's, while Ge'ez has 3, and Arabic has 3. So in Hebrew, our het does double duty. You know, but behayel means like in power, in strength, behayel, or with strength. Behayel, hayel. So they usually spell it what's his name? In Landon's, he usually spell for X, you know, X. So just get used to that. Then you have le negouche, le negouche, le negouche, negouche. In Ge'ez, it would be pronounced as negouche. In Amharic, we'll say negus, negus. So in Ge'ez, le negouche.
That's another.
Mm.
This speaking to the same point where you was making just before, how it had 3H, right? And then it also had the S with a normal S, a regular S, and then it had the SHS, the sh S and thing. But like I think they saying when it in Amharic now, it come like enough of the things blend into one letter then. So the S what in we used to have a sh, it will come down more like negus, you know, like
No, no,
kind
no,
of.
no, no, you're right about that. In fact, Haile Selassie's name and Budge slips up. The Budge don't slip up, but Budge writes it in one of his books. Where Haile Selassie's name is written, he transcribes it like it would be in ancient Ge'ez. His name would not be like Haile Selassie, but more as Haile Selassie, Haile Selassie, Haile, Haile, Haile Selassie. So
Yeah,
Amharic is linguistically, Dillman calls it, and I agree with him, Amharic is more feminized.
truly.
In other words, the sounds, like for example, they don't say, like in Amharic, you'll say Behayel. You say Behayel in Amharic, Behayel with strength. In Ge'ez will be Behayel, 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 Behayel.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they say that Tigrinya is closer to Ge'ez than Amharic. You get the point now? Because of
Yeah,
how the sounds still, it still has that very kind of, I call that rough Afro-Shemitic sound, Behayel, le negouche. And we have Imhegar, like from the city, Imhegar.
M, yes,
It's
M,
interesting because in Amharic to say aga is to say country. In Amharic, aga, which comes from the Hegar root. But in Ge'ez, Hagar is a city. And think about it for a moment. A country is not like we think of country, but it begins with having like a city. If you understand what I'm saying, like a city, like you have like it says in the Bible that Cain built a city for his son Enoch.
yeah,
Think about it for a moment. You be like, if there's only one man or two men or a few men, why in the world are you gonna build a city? That's a whole other reasoning. That's a whole other reasoning right there. But yeah, the goodness
The,
is sweet. The goodness is sweet, but it's a quiet taste. I think we should
but,
learn it, but I would definitely say as a crutch, learn the basic Amharic as a crutch. You know, so when you
so,
get over, when you get in the deep water, you'll be able to like backstroke. You know what I mean?
definitely, definitely. But I was trying to see if I see the HG, the the root for that word. Look at it.
Which one?
Look, I see in Hagar, HGR triliteral. But this is the H with the dot on it, so it's not the correct one.
Let's see. Let me see it. Show it to me. Show it to me. Scroll down. Oh, sorry, sorry.
It's not
Oh yeah,
this one.
yeah. Not that one right there. Yeah, that has a dot underneath it. No, keep going up. Keep going up, like the opposite direction. Keep going up. You should be able to find it. Where is it? H G. Let's see. I think it's on the next page.
Might be the
Let's see.
next page.
Right over here. Let's see.
But
Oh
I'm starting
no.
to see the dot come in. Hold on, where it
Mm.
is? H. Hold on.
Wait,
This
this
is
is
regular. Is regular H, and yeah,
yeah, it's
look at
regular.
it.
Hey, you got it?
Yeah,
Where you find it? Oh, look at you. Yes, I. There you go. There you go. But they have it as village there. Back there, it says
it,
village.
it's saying no. Well, you see, when it have the thing in the brackets, it's saying it referring to in Arabic. They go have it as
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
village
okay.
in Rome. But
Yeah.
in South Arabic, they say HGR
South
city,
Arabian. Yeah, South
South
Arabian.
Arabian,
Yeah,
yeah,
you got
city,
Hagar, Hagar,
yeah,
Hagar,
yeah.
Hagar,
You,
Hagar. Because whenever it's a long A, they'll put the bar over. Whenever it's a
yeah,
long A, put the bar. So
exactly.
Hagar, Hagar, and like from the city, and then it says for the sake of clarity, where are we right there?
Right
For
there,
the sake
sure,
of
sure.
clarity, we shall always transcribe these with hyphen. In other words, to separate the what do they call it? The pronoun,
The
the
preposition,
preposition. So be chaya, le negush, im hega. There's also an independent, unbound form of the preposition in. So sometimes if you're reading, they will have as in, like, or as imminent, imminent,
mm,
imminent, imminent, imminent. Yeah, imminent. So, like for example, you could say imminent Hagar, or you could say im Hagar from the city. Imminent Hagar, imminent Hagar, im Hagar, imminent Hagar. Right. So the be and the im are freely combined with other prepositions. Be, like for example, you could say bedibe, bedibe. Remember, dibe meant on, like diva, deva, on. So
yeah,
bedibe, or you can combine the be with bewiste, bewiste. Seldom alters the meaning of the second preposition. So to say like on a mountain, you could say diva deva, diva deva, diva deva, diva deva. On the mountain, you could say bed diva deva, bed diva deva. You know, like Wista Hega from the city, or you could say Bewista Hega, like from the city. So it's kind of like uh, uh, another way of saying the same thing, so to speak, right? So
mm,
M has its usual force. For example, MDB, MDB. You see MDB, MDB from on, right? M Wista from in. Remember, wista meant in. So when you say
yeah.
in from wista, like where did it come in wista ani, you know, in wista, like
And
from.
Mr. Hagar. And Mr.
In,
Hagar.
yeah, in wista hagar, from
Yeah.
in the city. So you're not just saying like wista hega, you're not saying like from the city, but wista hega, from in the city. You know, like when people
Yeah.
speak and they
And
may want
Mr.
to emphasize, you know,
Yeah.
these various compounds will be noted in the vocabulary as they are required. Okay, part 1-3 of this. This is a short but sweet lesson. I went over this lesson probably hundreds of times. Like, you know, like when you're reading something and you're studying and got up to like page 5 and got a little,
Yeah.
chapter 5, it got a little complex. So I go back
Yeah.
like to chapter 1. That's how I do it. I go back to, I, I'll, I'll teach myself the same basics over again. Just a
Yeah.
note to fellows. Although we shall defer full treatment of the verb until later, thank you, Brother Lambden, it is necessary here to introduce the third person forms of the inflection called the perfect. The
Now, for
perfect.
people who mightn't be familiar with linguistic lingo and thing, I don't know if you could break down this last little part here into a more legible common language for people.
Third person forms of the inflection called the perfect. The perfect is like, in term of verb, it's an action. So a perfect of the verb will be a completed action. A completed action. Like I'm going. No, that's an ongoing. I went. In other words, I went. So the
But
perfect is like the action has already been done, has already been completed. Like God
but
created.
then if
Yeah.
you say I went, they would say that would be the first person. So
Sorry. You got me. You got me. Yeah. Um, he created. He created. So create is the action, but in the perfect form, the action already happened. The third person meant that not I is the first person, you, right? It would be like the second person, and he or she. He or she will be the third person. And usually, like in the dictionary, like in Wolf Law dictionary, if you go to like the
mhm,
dictionaries, you usually will find that most of the words are given in the third person. You know what I mean? Will be like in the
yeah,
third person. Like for example, it's like if you look up the word create in the Wolf Law, it'd be like fetare. Fetare mean he created. He created. So that's just a way that the scholars would normally confine the vocabulary, like the verbs in the dictionary are usually to the third person perfect, to put it like that,
yeah.
right there. So now you have the singular, third person masculine, third person feminine, the masculine first. You have nebere, 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 nebere. Nebere means he sat. Now, this is going to be interesting. And I talked about, I don't know if you ever heard me talk about it, but you know, people talk about Neberu, right? Okay, in the plural sense, Neberu, Neberu,
Never.
they sat. In the royal they, right? Neberu. Selassie, Neberu. So what's the Neberu? They say, oh, the Neberu's coming. The Neberu's coming. Well, Neberu, you get what I'm saying, right? The, the Neberu, yo,
It
you
never
know what
recovered.
in my studies. And you're one of the first brothers in a long time. I gotta heal up another brother, cause hopefully when you share this, I gotta hit up that brother. Brother Tedros, Tewudros. You gotta come in with Ankoma Jed here. I would say he even is a little bit more good as scholar. I salute that brother, Brother Ras, you know, Tedros. But yeah,
Yeah,
Neberu.
well, Farai, if you know um bridges and anything go be out of their way or any kind of thing. It's not a problem to invite others who you might think will go add value to what we're trying to do here. You
Oh
know?
yeah, the
I mean,
brother gonna add value, man. It's like,
yeah.
and some of those same questions, make sure you ask him too about, we talked about it, like trying to learn Amharic and Ge'ez at the same time is
Mm-hmm.
challenging. He kind of like got the basics of the Amharic and then he full dived into the Ge'ez. I think that's a good, yeah, if you want to get into it like that, I think that's a good way. But here we have Nebera, 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 mean he sat. Neberu, once again, means is the plural. They sat, Neberu. Third person feminine. Third person feminine, Neberet, Neberet, Neberete, Neberet. Neberet is she sat, Neberet. Then we have Nebera. You remember what I said about the long A?
Yes,
Nebera, Nebera, Nebera. They, like a group of women, like, where's the daughters? Where are my daughters then? Nebera. But what's the Hagar? But what's the Hagar? They sat. They sat
mm-hmm.
right there. So we have they sat Nebera. Now, this is important because we see Nebere is he. Neberu is they masculine. Neberet is she sat. And then Nebera. Pay attention to the difference because it's a pattern. You know what I mean? Once you start to recognize that the ru at the end is like they, the ra, like on a verb, is like they feminine, the ret, the t, the ret, the t often is a feminine ending. But anyway, we'll get into that as we go on. Just a little bit more here. The four endings. See, I'm talking for Thomas Lambden. He's already writing about it. The the et, the u, and the a. Those right there. The in neberet. The at in neberet. The u in neberu. The a in nebera are all used on all verbs in the language to mark these four forms of the perfect. So four forms of the perfect is the completed action. Remember, the verb was sat, right?
Mm-hmm.
They sat, they men sat, she sat, they female sat. So regardless of the shape of the stem, that means regardless of what the primary, like you said something earlier about tri-continental roots. Did you say that?
Triliteral,
Tri-continental.
yeah.
Yeah.
Triliteral roots, but it's the same thing. Tricontinental, triliteral is called it.
I come from my father taught me that years ago. That I come from the old school. So, but you're right. Triliteral, like it has like 3 letters. Most verb roots have at least 3 primary glyphs. So when you look at the N, B, and R, nebere, that's like the the perfect form for, like, that's a stem right there. So it's saying that these same nuances, the the u, the et, and the a, is universal regardless of what the main verb perfect might be. This is just one sample of one verb. The first verb here in this lesson is sat, to sit, to seat up, you know.
Nah, Barry. Uh,
That's a good
I was
dictionary
just
there, man.
quickly seeing if we could have find the if the root was inside of here, but I'm not sure if I see it.
No, the root
Nah,
is the root should be there. It should be there. It's fairly universal. That's why I made the little Nebaru kind of comment. I
mm-hmm.
hope one don't make up. You will not make up, but investigate. I'll say investigate, you know? Yeah, investigate. Make a person.
I never had me laughing there for a while, bro.
So you see how the linguistics is a matter of interpretation. When they say Neberu is coming, and we say that God, like from a Judeo-Christian perspective, he is king, he rules, he reigns, he is seated in judgment. Maybe this is what they meant, that Neberu is like, divine gods is, he's seated up on his
True,
throne.
true. Somehow I ain't seeing it anything there, but let me continue with the lesson.
Okay, right here where we're at. Well, okay. For example, okay, yeah,
regardless
yeah.
of the shape of the stem. Yeah.
Regardless of the shape of the stem, we have motet, motet. Motet means he died. Motet, right? And then we have what is that? Re'iyah, 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 re'iyah. Re'iyah is like to see. Re'iyah. Oh, really? He saw. It's the third person, perfect. He saw. Re'iyah. And then we have andara, andara. Now, Ambera is interesting. Ambera, because it sounds a lot like Nebera. See, Nebera means he, like in other words, he sat, but now in the sense of not he sitting or sat, but causing to sit. Andere. To set something is to sit something. Like if you set something down, you
Yeah.
basically sit. You know what I mean? Like you set this over here. Literally, you sit it. Get the word sit and sat in English, you know what I'm
No,
saying?
I come across the word man bar too. Man bar is like a throne. And and
Um, you got it, right? From sitting.
yeah, yeah,
Manvar. Because the primary root is nebere. That's still
yeah,
the
the
primary root.
are still inside of the so it in the what do they call the kettle format, with the QTL, the dummy root
The
and
kettle, yeah, they use that in the Hebrew too. The kettle, yeah. The kettle pattern, kettle. Yeah. Basically, it's almost like the nebere. The kettle will be like the kettle, like the basic vowel form. Oh, let's get the other word right there. Astebek, 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 a se te teb astebek. It's like to implore, like to beg, to beseech. Astebek, astebek. He was begging, he implored, he really was pleading, for whatever, Astebek. So we're saying that in spite of whatever the root, for example, we have motet. Remember motet? Motet is like neberet, right? So motet. Then we have motu. Motu, they died. We have motet. Motet, she died. And then we have moten or
yeah,
mota. Yeah, mota would be like
the
they,
females that
yeah, the females die. So
yeah,
what's trying to show us is that they gave us one example and then they gave us other root words and we can play around, like, to kind of get the, like, re'ya, he saw. Then we have re'yu, they, men, saw. Then you have re'yet, she saw. Then you have Re'iyah, Re'iyah. Re'iyah is like they, a group of women, saw. Anbere, he said something. Anberu, they, men, said something. Anberet, she, woman, like said something.
yeah,
And Anbera, they female said something. Now this one's a little bigger word here, but astebekwa, astebekwa, he implored. Astebekwa, astebekwa, they men implored or begged. Astebekwet, Astebekwet. She, woman, begged or implored, pleaded. And then we have Astebekwa, Astebekwa, Astebekwa. They females, they like woman, they female, they. So that's what I'm trying to say, that in spite of whatever the stem is, so they gave us a nebula at first, then they gave us like, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Moteh, he died. Re'iyeh, he saw. Anbere, he said. Astebekwa, he implored. So note that the pronominal subject like he, she, they, is included in the verb form itself. So it's like in the good is, you don't need to always put the what they call it, the pronoun. You know what I'm saying? You don't always have to put the pronoun, or you can express the verb, and the verb tell you who is doing what action, right?
Yeah.
It is included in the verb form itself and need not be expressed separately. The Ethiopic perfect, already completed action, corresponds to the English simple past, the simple past tense, the past tense, like he went, he wrote, he sat, he saw, he died, yeah. Or the present perfect. The present perfect sense is like he has gone. It's a completed action, but it's like it already having happened. He has gone, he has written. He wrote, he has written something. The basic lexical form of the Ethiopic, the is verb, is the third person masculine singular of the perfect. That's basically saying that if you're looking up in like professional dictionaries, you will always find the root word in the third person masculine singular of the perfect, the already completed action. You know what I mean? And it's the same like in the Wolf-Less law. Most grammatarians use that formula. In the lesson vocabularies and in the glossary, we shall always give the basic English meaning in the infinitive form. Thus, nebere. So nebere is to sit. So like right now, if you look up in a dictionary and you come across like a word, it would be like this, like nebere, to sit, but really, literally, is saying he sat. But to give the student a kind of means to sit. Lastly, but
It
not
come like
least,
the male tense or the male gender of it. It come like the universal gender. But if you want to get down into the female, it's have a way to specify the female. But the male one, it come like the universal version of the word.
The male come like the universal and basic, and before some sisters might think, oh, is that sexist? No, it's not. Because when you start to study the female expression, it's like we give more emphasis in language, you know what I mean, to the feminine. You know what I mean? The man is like basic, the man is just like basic. With verbs of motion, the goal is expressed by various prepositions, the most frequently of which are wista and chebe. Okay, chebe, I haven't heard that one. Chebe. Wista means, remember, wista was in, and chebe, hebe is like two in a sense, but we get to, wista is used if the goal is a place. So wista, like when it says, hora wista heger, hora. Remember, it has a dot underneath, so it'll be more like hora wista geber, hora wista geber. No, sorry, hora wista heger. Hora wista heger. He went
Mm-hmm.
to the city. Hore, Hore, he went. Wiste, like into Hagar. And Chebe, Chebe is used with both persons and places. So we have Hore, Chebe, Negush. Hore, Chebe, Negush. He went to the king. Hore, Hore, he went. Chebe, like to Negush, to the king. Hore, Chebe, Negush, Hore. Actually, it's much more hard. I have to bring that out for the good. It's a more of like horror, horror, Chebe, bait, horror, Chebe, bait, horror, Chebe, bait. He went to the house. So bait. Remember you asked about that fifth order?
Mm.
Bait. It sounds like bait, but if you want to enunciate it fully, bait. Right? Whether a preposition like wiste means to, into, or in, it depends on the verb with which it is employed. For example, nebere wiste, to dwell in. Nebera, remember nebera meant like he sat, or
Yeah.
remember the concept of sitting also can mean to dwell. Not just literal sitting. You know, like when it says he's seated between the cherubims, he
Yes.
dwelled between the cherubim. Or it could be like he's enthroned, right? Nebera wista, to dwell in. And then we have boe wista. Boe is like to enter, enter into. Boe, boe wista. And we have horror wista, to go wista, to go to, or like to go in. Like, listen, we could probably use this like when somebody's about to go in on something, and we say horror
Yeah.
wista, like go in.
Yeah.
The community is like to go in, but it's like kind of like you're gonna go to this point or you're gonna go in on this point. Lastly, but
Yeah.
not least, here is a vocabulary. This is just lesson one. Maybe you may have to put this even, fly it as like a kind of Amharic lesson. Part one. This is good right here. I enjoy this. Here we have vocabulary one, nouns. Heger, city. Bait. You see how the over the E is the long vowel.
Mm-hmm.
That long vowel brings out the fifth order. A, bait. Bait is house. Nigush, ni. It's not really ni. It's not ni. It's ni. Nigush. Nigush is king, and Deber. Deber. Deber is
Okay.
mountain. So in this lesson right here, we have four basics. Everybody take note. Hagar, city, bait, house, Negush, king, and Deber, right? Mountain. So we have Nebera. Here's beginning verbs in Nebera. Nebera is to sit down. Nebra in Ge'ez can mean to stay, to remain, or to even continue, right? It has a sense of to live and to dwell. Nebra, right? Nebra, to live, to dwell. Now we have, this word wasn't used, but werada, werada, werada. What is werada? Werada means to like descend, to like come down, like to go down. Werada. Then we have arga. arga, arga. Now you notice on the word there's a backwards. You see the backwards apostrophe on
Yeah.
arga. Now I try to bring out the harder tigra is ancient is sound, but arga, arga. It's not the regular ah. It's not the regular ah. It's like a more guttural
Mm.
ah. It's like arga, arga. Arga. Like arga means like to ascend, like to go up, right? Arga, right? To come up in that sense, but to go up, to climb. Arga, arga, arga. You know? Then we had the word hora, 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 hora is to go. Like, yeah, you could say to try in a sense, but to go. Hora. Then we had these prepositions. Preposition is just
Hold
like it
on a
sounds.
second.
Hmm?
Let me get it. Yeah. Now I was just I did scroll past it a little bit now, so I was telling it.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that right there. But yeah, give thanks. The prepositions are what you put before, the word to bring out a sense of it. So we have im, remember im, or you could say imminent, imminent, im or imminent. The short form is im. The longer form is like imminent, which means from, out of, or away from something. Wiste, wiste, or be wiste, wiste, be wiste, into, like going to a place. In wiste, in, from, wiste, from in wiste, from within, in wiste. Diba, dibe, 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 bedibe, dibe, on or bedibe, on or up on. We say like on, and we can say up on, but we say upon. But so we got that dibe, bedibe, in or bedibe, up on, like on, sorry, on or up on. And what's that right there? This is into, the sense of into. Or opposite, in dibe, in, from, dibe, from, on, from, upon, in dibe, in dibe, in dibe, in dibe, in dibe. Then we had the chebe, 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 or bechebe, chebe, bechebe. Chebe, like with, at, near, personal, place, like in a sense of chebe. How's it go again? Ethiopia, the wiha chebe. Let's see, the wiha chebe exegesis, like Ethiopia stretched forth her hands to God. I was trying to remember that, but chebe means like has sense of two towards, right? Bechebe, two towards, or imchebe, from with, like from the presence of, like imchebe negush, from the king or from the presence. Like, where do you come from? Imchebe negush, came from like the presence of the king. Then we had the basic preposition be, in, be, into, be, by, be, with. It's like of an agent. It's a very important. You find it in a lot of words like, bed negus, like in the king, or like, upon the king, in a sense. Then it closes out here with some exercises, kind of like to go over, one can go over the lesson,
But I think we could try to just run these real fast and we go look it up because this is like using the so we could just like translate these little words here. In the introduction to this, who following along, right? The man say you should try to transcribe the Ethiopic characters for the verbs and the vocabularies what he giving out now. So the vocabularies what we get here with the nouns, and the verbs and the prepositions and thing. You have to try to go now because in the lessons what we're going through, you're not gonna see no we're only using Latin characters to represent the language. So
Sure.
you're gonna have to do your own homework and going and try to find the correct glyphs and thing and write out these sentences furthermore. Yeah? Yeah.
Okay, so the A group right here. Remember Wister Heger? Wister Heger
Yeah.
in the city.
Yeah.
Right? That was
Western, West as in, yes, into
in
the
or
city.
or like to the city, yeah, in the sense of to the city. Diva Dever, Diva Dever, Diva Dever, Diva Dever, Diva
On the
on the mountain. Imminabate, imminabate from the house. Imminabate, imminabate, imminabate. In Wisterbait, in Wisterbait. From like in the house. It was like from in the house, you know, from in the house. Bewisterbait, like almost like a sense of into the house. You can have a sense of into the house. Bewisterbait, like in the house, into the house. The six over there, what's that? In Diva Deva, in Diva Deva, from up upon
from
the
on the
mountain.
mountain. Yeah.
from upon the,
From on
yeah, from on the mountain. And you know, like there's a little bit of like translators you'll find have a little bit of what do you call like liberty sometimes, you know what I mean? And reason, you know. The
yeah.
seventh one is in the goosh, in the goosh, in nigush, in the goosh. From I'll say like from the king. Come
Yeah.
on, there's no definite articles. We didn't even get into that. There's really no definite articles. What's this next one here? Okay. Behebe Negush. Behebe. Behebe Negush. How you say that? How you bring them out?
I would
In
say that the Bahaba, the Haba is what again? Bahaba,
Behebe,
by with. Yeah.
it's like
So
it's
you
like
say now with the king.
or like yeah. I'm like in the king's presence.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like towards the king or like yeah like being because like with persons, you know, Behebe
Yeah.
Negush, Diva Negush, Diva Negush.
On
It's almost like an oath, right? Like, bro, are you telling the truth? But Diva Negush, like you know, on the king, upon the
right.
king, the Diva Negush, and in Worcester Hega, in Worcester Hega. See that whole thing about I know like I'm saying Hega, but you're saying a Hagar. You know, so one sometimes you see that, you know, in English I'd be like Hagar, but actually in Worcester Hega from in the city, yeah, from in the city,
From in the
from
city, yeah.
from in the city, and now that was the A. The A was like basic kind of phrases. Now notice the
Yeah.
B is like more like verbs. We're gonna get a couple more verbs up in here.
Well, let me try be seeing he sat in the house.
Nabara was the bait. Yeah, Nabara was the bait. Yeah. He sat, or he was dwelling in the house. He was in the house, but sense of like literally he sat, or he was dwelling in the house. You know. How about that one? Nabara was the bait.
She um from in the house. She sat within from hold on. The bar is get what again? The bar is like
Bewista. What you saying, Bewista?
yeah, but with the
Yeah, Bewista. Be
in the house.
Wista would be Wista would be in, right? Isn't it in?
Involved, yes. The
No, no,
bar
no,
is
no.
the in and the the
Wista,
bar
Wista,
west
Wista, into,
into.
into. He
Yeah.
sat like in the house. It's like saying like she sat within the house. Like she
Yeah.
sat within the house.
Mm.
I think that putting the bed there, they could say Neberet Wistabate, but saying Neberet Bewistabate, it gives like more of an intimacy. Like she sat in the house. You know what I mean? That bed, the bed and the Wista. You know what I'm saying? It's little nuances, but okay. Now remember, this is a new word, a new verb. Remember, arge, arge mean like to ascend or to go up, like to climb, like you climb a mountain or you like go on a higher height. So
Yeah.
argu diva debra, argu diva debra.
They have that as ascending upon the mountain.
Yeah, you said that they ascended on the mountain.
No, I would say is
Yeah, you got it. No,
he
you got it.
is
Hold to your guns, man. I didn't hear it fully. I said, wait, you just said that they ascended on the mountain? That's accurate. Argo
oh
will be
with the U is true. They ascended the mountain. Are
uh,
Gudiba.
they made heights. They made heights. Argo diba dever. Now what's Arge? Arge wista heger. Arge wista
Mm-hmm.
heger. Arge wista
That
heger.
he went up into the city.
He went, yeah, he went to the city. He went up. He ascended, yeah, the city. Now here we have Arga Chebebeit, Arga
Mm-hmm.
Chebebeit.
They
Uh,
house. What's Haba again? They that
Chebe was
went.
in that like in in the house. So Arga, they females
They female
ascended.
near the house.
Yeah,
It
they
have
ascended.
Arga in it. Ascended,
Huh?
yes, yes. No,
Yeah,
you're correct. Yeah.
Arga Chebebeit. They went up. The sisters them they went up. Was it the horror? Was it
They
it's
went up near the house. They went up near the house.
oh, okay, yeah. Probably you could say that. Depends, I guess, on the context. Yeah. Yeah, this is good. This is good. Horror Wista
Mm-hmm.
Deborah. Horror Wista Deborah. Horror. No,
To go
horror. My bad. Horror Wista Deborah. Horror Wista Deborah. Horror.
he he into the mountain. He went into the mountain.
Yeah, he went in the mountain, almost like he went in the monastery in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, horror was together. Hurrah was the bait. Hurrah was the bait.
They
Uh,
went into the house, female.
yeah,
The group of females went into the house.
they went into the house. Weredu in Diva Devra. Weredu in Diva Devra.
What that
Weredu.
vocab mean again? What the wara do mean again?
Well, whether that is to descend, like to come down.
To descend is the wara. What, let me go back in.
Yeah. You got it, yeah, right there. Whether that, yeah, to descend, to come down, to go down. Yeah. So we have Weradu, Weradu,
So
and Deba Deborah.
down from on the mountain. Descend
Yep.
from on the mountain.
Yeah, they came down. They came down from on the mountain. Yep. Came down from on the mountain. Weradet. Weradet in Diba Bait. Weradet in Diba Bait. In
Baradat
the
and Dibabe, she from in the house. She came out from in the house. She came down from in the house.
Yeah, she came down from in the house. And here 10th was it Warada Iminahega. Warada Iminahega. Warada Iminahega. Let's see. He descended from the city. He descended from the city. Yeah. He like came down. Oh, he came down from the city. He came down. He came down from the city. Yeah, man. Wow, I Ankoma. You know,
Yeah, man.
I must acknowledge.
Yes, I. So we go wrap up this lesson. Give thanks for the reasoning, King. You know, it was a joy still. You know, powers and strength. Yes, yeah, man. So when you feel we could link up lesson 2.
I think soon. We got some things going on. We're gonna be mean. We're gonna be mean. So if you're ready, let me know and I'll let you know my timeline.
When we have time and thing and we can link.
Yeah, I want to pick up on this.
Well, give thanks again for coming on. I'll go see the eye reasoning when we on Rasta round table over and precise that thing. You know what I mean? So we go link up sooner again.
Yeah, man, it's a good reason, man. Tonight when the eye, drop it or release it.
This live, this up on the internet right now as we speaking it on the internet.
All right, I'm gonna have to go. Yeah, I'll have to find. Yeah, I'll find it. Give thanks. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Man. Right,
yes,
so
sir.
Rastafari, blessed love, respect.
Blessed love, my brother. Yes, sir.
All right, and